Indians plan to keep their hopes for a Northern Indiana Conference title alive tonight, not just with a punishing ground game, but with Casey Connery leading a hard-hitting Indian defense. Tonight, the Tribe faces a resurgent Elkhart Central squad. The fifth-ranked Blue Blazers have one of the state's best rushers in Mark Brownlee and a Swiss Army knife of a player in Ricky Roca. Everybody's going to watch this one next on the Game of the Week. For 94 years, this has been the place to be on a Friday night in Elkhart, and that is the case again this evening. We are at Rice Field in Elkhart, where the fifth-ranked Elkhart Central Blue Blazers take on the St. Joe Indians on the 46th Game of the Week. And how you doing, everybody? Between the Hall of Famers, Bob Nagel, Bo Hunt, it's Chuck Freeby. Great to have you with us on another exciting Friday night of high school football. The St. Joe Indians come in with a record of 3-1, although Dauber could be down a little bit after their first loss of the year last week to New Prairie. But Brian Witten really feels like his Indians will be in bounce-back mode tonight.
Yeah, we're going to have to keep an eye on John Driscoll. The running back was out a couple days this week. They've had a little bit of flu going around, but he looks like he's 100% tonight. Ashton Roskowski could be the difference maker tonight. The great thing about St. Joe is even though they gave up a lot of points last week, they've still got a lot of stalwarts on the defense. Talking about names like Radigan and Stone and even Kenzel Kelly, who played fantastic football against the Marion Knights. And I tell you what, I think the big thing is they're going to be ready for Elkhart Central tonight.
And Brian Witten says as much as he talked to us just moments ago.
Well, we've got to minimize penalties, first of all, and then we've got to be efficient on first and second downs for offense and defense. That way we're in third and shorts, as well as that way we can get off the field if they're in third and long, keep that explosive offense off the field.
For the Elkhart Central Blue Blazers, they also come in at 3-1, as we mentioned, ranked number 5 in Class 5A. But Josh Shattuck knows that he's had 4 non-conference games, and the NIC North is going to be a meat grinder. Are the Blazers ready for what they're going to face?
Well, they've got a lot of weapons going into the game, especially Mark Brownlee, who's been one of the most prolific running backs here in Northern Indiana so far this season. The question they might have is Isaiah Chandler, a quarterback. Does he have the experience? Can he make the reads against an intricate defense that St. Joe likes to run? Ricky Roca is a difference maker. Now, he can score on offense or defense, which is a nice thing to have. But I know that Josh Shattuck has his team ready, and I love the way he's working this program.
It's yeah. I mean, you know, with no disrespect to our opponents whatsoever, we said, guys, that was we had 4 tests, we passed 3, failed 1. Now we got, I mean, week in and week out, this is just a gauntlet.
Back on the sidelines tonight, Bo Hunt joining us. And Bo, maybe it's too simple to make this contrast, but Elkhart Central's got a track team out here on the football field. St. Joe looks like they've got a weightlifting team in the offensive line and the defensive line. Is this speed versus power tonight?
I really think it is, and I think it's, can St. Joe stop them up front? Can they stop Brownlee? And if they can they make them throw? If they can get Central into a throwing game, I think St. Joe's got an advantage in that aspect. St. Joe's going to try to run the clock. They're going to try to milk it a little bit more and sustain some drives, and if they're able to do that every single drive, they're going to have a good victory tonight.
Boy, the NIC North is always a fun division, and that is the case again this year. For me, this one's kind of difficult. It's the school I went to against the school my money goes to. It's Elkhart Central and St. Joe, and the Jordan Automotive Keys to Win come your way next on the 46th Game of the Week.
This is the WHME TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week, brought to you by Thor Industries, Bethel College Admissions, Teachers Credit Union, Bill's Heating, Jordan Auto Group, IU South Bend, Electrical Workers Local 153, JV Macri Orthodontics, Crown Trophy, Imagineering Finishing Technologies, and the IHSAA.
This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week is being brought to you by the Jordan Auto Group. Simple, easy, and stress-free. Welcome back, everybody, to the banks of the Elkhart River. Rice Field, the site tonight. The Blazer Brigade lined up for the tunnel formation to greet their heroes from Elkhart Central as the Blue Blazers take on St. Joe tonight. Time to look at our keys to win. brought to you by the Jordan Auto Group. For the St. Joe Indians, they love to pound the football behind the running of junior running back John Driscoll. The 6'1", 195-pound junior has rushed for 450 yards and 4 touchdowns this year, but he's also been dynamic catching the ball out of the backfield and has a touchdown that way as well. Defensively, they look to the linebackers to carry the day, and Dan Stone's done a good job of that from the outside linebacker position. The 6'1", 175-pound senior has used his speed to put pressure on the quarterback and has 3 sacks this season. The keys for Brian Witten and the Indians.
No question this week, Chuck, the focus on minimalizing penalties. And I tell you what, last week, 16 penalties, 160 yards. It was just too much to overcome, called back 2 big plays for St. Joe. First and second down efficiency is important. Don't get behind the chains, and they got to bottle up Brownlee and round up Aroka, and they got to watch them on every play. Got to know where they are. Brian Witten, in his 3rd season at St. Joe, now 10-16 on his South Bend career.
Here in the band instrument capital of the world, well, they've always had a very good marching band. Now they have a football team to match them, as the Blazers, 3-1 this year, come in with one of the state's best running backs in Mark Brownlee. He is 12th in the state of Indiana in rushing, with 688 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns this season. He had 250 yards rushing against Benton Harbor last week. And when Brownlee isn't touching the football, it's likely Ricky Roca is. And Roca has found ways to do it on both sides of the line of scrimmage. He has caught 7 passes. He's rushed the ball 7 times. But he's also put on a couple of defensive touchdowns to spearhead a very effective Blazer defense this season. The keys to win for Josh Shattuck and the Blue Blazers.
Well, Chuck, they have to protect the home field, and that's kind of a restored tradition here. And I tell you what, Josh Shattuck's done a great job of embracing those traditions. They can't turn it over. They got to value the incomplete pass, and we'll explain that during the course of the game. But boy, if you're 3rd down and you're going to throw into coverage, throw it away, and the punt would follow. That's about a 40-yard gain. That's not a bad play. And they got to make big plays with defense. They got to rock them and Roca. Rock and Roca tonight for Elkhart Central will be really key. Josh Shattuck, 7-7 in his 2nd season now at Elkhart Memorial. He's in his 10th season overall as a head coach.
Of course, a lot to talk about the Elkhart Central Blue Blazers and Elkhart Memorial Crimson Chargers merging in a couple of years, but Central was formed by a split in 1972. St. Joe has beaten them 15 of the 22 times the 2 schools have played since then. And last year, the Tribe won it in convincing fashion by a count of 34-7. As the fans continue to make their way in from the parking lot here on Blazer Boulevard, it is a perfect night for sitting and watching a game. 83 degrees, the wind, a gentle zephyr out of the north at 6, and there's not a chance of rain because there's not a cloud to be found in the northern Indiana sky tonight.
And Chuck,
here come the Blue Blazers.
I was going to say, one of the things you got to keep in mind, too, is we haven't had much rain lately, so the field is relatively dry. Oh, it's artificial. What a beautiful facility here at Elkhart Central. Just great to get a chance to see it. The colors that are on the field are for the school in 2 years, and the colors will be that color blue with the yellow and the gold.
So it's Elkhart Central and St. Joe, and we'll put the ball on the tee and have the kickoff next on 46. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week is being brought to you by Thor Industries, the world's largest RV manufacturer. And our first quarter tonight is brought to us by our friends at Marian University, a great university in a great city, Marian University in Indianapolis. Chuck Freeby, Bob Nagel, Bo Hunt back with you at Rice Field. The St. Joe Indians having a word of prayer before they take the field. The captain's getting ready to meet at midfield. Bob, any final thoughts on this one before we get underway?
Well, one of the things that you got to keep in mind for St. Joe is they're coming off a tough loss against a very good team in New Prairie. They got to increase their defensive effort tonight, and that's going to be crucial. Brian Witten is in his 3rd year at St. Joe, and he's one of the great adjustments for him is he's teaching in the school now. He's in touch with the players every day. He's in touch with their teachers if somebody's not getting something done. And it's just a great relief. And any head coach would tell you got to be in the building, and it's good that it worked out that way for Brian Witten.
So the captain's meeting at midfield with our referee tonight, Chuck Henry, and we'll put up the rest of the names on this crew as well. It's a local crew: Aaron Kozik, Al DeRue, Jamie Pluta, and Todd Baum. They've been around for a while. Central defers as they win the toss, and St. Joe will receive down at the south end of Rice Field.
One of the nice things about the stadium, it is north and south, so the sun not really a big factor. Plus, it's going down behind the wall here on the west side of Rice Field, and boy, both these teams are geeked. You know, one of the things tonight we should explain is the uniforms. St. Joe in their customary road white uniforms, white jerseys, white pants, white helmets, and Elkhart Central wearing the colors that honor the military tonight, and a little bit of a different look. They've got the white helmets, white pants, but they're wearing that green and black and yellow combination that represents the military here, and a salute to them.
So for those of you watching on Facebook Live, brought to us by our friends at Marian University, especially those of you who might be Elkhart Central fans, don't despair. They haven't changed the school colors on you yet. This is all part of, as Bob explained, the Military Appreciation Night. Brian Mullins, a senior, is the kicker for Elkhart Central. We're going to see two very good kickers in this game, in Mullins and Patrick Oliva of St. Joe. And Mullins about to put it on the tee now. John Driscoll is back deep, along with Asante Anglin.
Going to be really important tonight for field position, especially for St. Joe. It allows them to use every aspect of their offense that they're out away from their own goal line. So good opportunity for St. Joe if they get a good return. And here to call tonight's play-by-play of this classic matchup between Elkhart Central and South Bend St. Joseph, our Family Broadcasting Corporation Sports Director, Chuck Freeby.
Mullins on the approach, about to put toe to leather and get us underway on a Friday night in the city with a heart. He has 7 touchbacks on the year. This one will not be a touchback. It's taken by Anglin back at his 2, and he is angling through a hole up to the 24-yard line before a good rip by the Blue Blazers as Demarion Williams tripped him up. And that's where St. Joe will begin, 1st and 10 at its own 24. Ashton Ruskowski, the quarterback, an all-NIC selection for St. Joe a year ago, but wanted to make sure he gave a shout out to his younger sister, Shay. She turned 16 today, a sweet 16 for Ashton's sister, so we'll get that out of the way right away as the Indians break the huddle with one back in the backfield with Ruskowski, and that's John Driscoll. Ruskowski from the gun, hands it off to Driscoll, and he's met by a wave of Blue Blazers along the front line. The St. Joe offense, we told you about Driscoll before the game. John Underley gets the start tonight in place of the injured J.P. Lewis. Connor Radigan at split end. Austin Lee has caught a few balls at tight end, and that offensive line has been very good this year, led by Mark Heestand, who's going to Air Force next season. And we have either an equipment problem or an injury for St. Joe, as coming off the field is John Driscoll, and he looks to be shaken up. Now, Driscoll had a bit of a flu problem this week, so perhaps that's the issue here, but that really takes away a major cog from the St. Joe offense.
Seemed like some attention being given to that right arm and shoulder. Tough to speculate from way over here. Maybe Bo Hunt can get us an update, but tough loss, especially compounded by the fact that Lewis is out, their second leading ball carrier.
So it's John Underley in the backfield next to Ashton Ruskowski on 2nd and 10. And Ruskowski will keep it himself and try to plow behind the right side of that line, but he's stood up at the 25-yard line. Only a pickup of 1 at the play, because the Blue Blazer defense has been very, very good this year, averaging only 11 points allowed per game. Rodney McGraw, an up-and-coming defensive end. Laz Miller has had a terrific season. The linebacking core solid with Brownlee and Stymack, and then Ricky Roca kind of leads the charge in that secondary with 2 pick sixes this year, and he might get tested here on 3rd and 8.
You got to watch every time they line up to see where Roca lines himself. He's got a license to go over where he thinks the play is going to go.
Trips to the left of Ruskowski. That's where this one is going. He throws it to Underley coming out of the backfield, but Underley couldn't get to the first down marker as he's wrapped up by Vinny Ambrose at the 31-yard line. Pickup of 5 on the play, and St. Joe will be in a punting situation with Patrick Oliva, their punter, coming on as you get another look courtesy of Bethel College admissions.
Good throw, good catch, and some pretty intense hitting there by Elkhart Central as they keep him short of the first down.
Ambrose and Kenneth Dennis were in on the stop that time. Central will send Kyron Pearson back deep to receive the punt from Oliva. The snap, a good one. And Oliva gets a high hanger out of there that Pearson is going to watch hit and take the field turf roll. It'll go inside the 25 all the way to the 23-yard line. So a 46-yard punt with no return. And that'll help the numbers for Oliva, who was averaging 38 yards a punt coming in.
Appreciate him getting 46 yards on that. We didn't do it by design, but it worked out nice.
So Elkhart Central takes over 1st and 10 at its own 23 with Isaiah Chandler right there at quarterback. Chandler fighting a bit of an illness bug himself this week. Has a bit of a fever coming into this one, but is hoping adrenaline will carry the day, as he is the only veteran quarterback on this Blazer roster right now. Bryson Sherwood had shoulder surgery today and is out for the season. 1st and 10 from the 23. Chandler throws out in the flat and has his man, that's Dominic Davis, bouncing off tacklers, and Davis goes out of bounds at about the 32-yard line. Pickup of 9 on the play. So for Davis, his 9th reception of the year. Let's take a look at that Blue Blazer offense. Brownlee, the big back, Roca, dangerous player, and the offensive line, all underclassmen, 4 juniors and a sophomore for the Blue Blazers, which means Josh Shattuck is loaded up for next year already.
I love that first call, Chuck. A good high percentage pass with some success.
2nd and 1 for Elkhart Central. Again, Military Appreciation Night, so the Blue Blazers wearing these camo uniforms. Brownlee, the lone back next to Chandler, and Brownlee is met in the backfield quickly by the St. Joe defense. Kenzel Kelly was right there to greet him for a loss of 3. Kelly had a big game, as Bob mentioned, against Marion earlier this year, and he spearheads that defensive line. The linebackers not only have Stone, but Casey Connery leading the team in tackles with 44. In the secondary, Connor Farrell gets the start in place of the injured J.P. Lewis.
Well, the St. Joe linebackers are so quick, Chuck. They get up there and support the run at the line of scrimmage. And, you know, a lot of times you get hit by a lineman, you think, well, I can get off him and still gain some yardage, and there's the linebackers filling.
So a 3rd and 6 situation. And let's see if Chandler can help his team out of it right here. Chandler keeps it, throws, and the receiver fell down. He was trying to hit Roca on a slant pattern, but Roca fell down, and the ball falls harmlessly to the turf. So both defenses with 3 and outs early on, as you get another copy courtesy of Bethel College Admissions.
Boy, if Roca doesn't go down, might have been a good chance there, but he'll make more great plays tonight than he makes along those lines.
Brian Mullins averaging 39 yards a kick, needs another body on the field, and here's Roca to fill that bill. Noah Hickey, the deep man for South Bend St. Joe. He stands back at his own 32. Mullins takes the snap and sends one hurtling down towards Hickey, who will watch it hit. This one takes a sideways bounce and goes out of bounds at the 36-yard line. 36-yard punt, no return. 8:40 left first quarter. No score between Central and St. Joe on 46. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week is brought to you by IU South Bend, fulfilling the promise. Plenty to cheer about these days in the city with a heart. The Blue Blazers ranked number 5 in Class 5A, but St. Joe trying to do something with good field position at its own 36. John Driscoll back in the game for St. Joe at running back, but Roskowski will roll out here. And he finds a man open down the field. That's Noah Hickey with the catch, and Hickey takes it down for a first down to the 37-yard line. Nice pickup on the play for the Indians of 27 yards, and you get another look courtesy of Bethel College Admissions.
Good angle. He was running away from Ricky Roca, who I think looked up and thought somebody else was going to be over there to help him.
The reason I hesitated, that's only Noah Hickey's 3rd catch of the year. But the senior coming up with a nice play there, and now Roskowski will go from a one-back. Trips to his left. It's Driscoll up the middle. He staggers for a yard at best before he's pushed back by that Blazer defense. Coming in and making the hit was Tycori Edwards, the strong safety, but Linnell Cephas was also in on the stop.
Cephas, big fella, when he gets in that gap, it's really hard to move him out of there.
They give him a yard on the play. Scoreboard says 2nd and 10, but it's more like 2nd and 9. Roskowski steps up in the gun, throws. Connor Radigan with the grab, and a one-arm tackle brought him down after a first down at the 23-yard line. Radigan was a step away from taking that one to the house.
Nicely done. Timing route. Bang, bang. It's tough to defend it if the throw's on the mark. That's really a tough pass to stop.
Well, we're starting to see on this drive what Ashton Roskowski has been projected to be by a lot of people this year. 13-yard pickup on the play. It's 1st and 10 and a handoff to Driscoll on an end-around sweep, and Driscoll running over people. Driscoll to the 2. 21-yard pickup for the St. Joe running back. They lined him up in the slot that time to give a different look.
And Chuck, when you're passing efficiently, it really opens up the running game. And look at Driscoll turn that thing north. He knows where the goal line is.
He got some wonderful downfield blocking by his offensive line that time, too. Kenneth Dennis saved the touchdown for the time being. But now Roskowski right behind that big offensive line. Touchdown, St. Joe. His 3rd rushing touchdown of the year. And the St. Joe Indians strike first, and in lightning fashion.
Passing was really crisp on that drive.
Watch again on our Bethel College admissions replay. Casey Connery and Big Mark Heastand opening up the door, and Roskowski got a little shove from behind to take him the rest of the way.
2 carries for Roskowski, 3 yards, touchdown.
Highly efficient, however.
3 out of 3 passing, 45 yards. That's what they expected out of him when the season began, and living up to it so far.
Patrick Oliva for the extra point. It is high into the September evening and good. 6:57 to go in the first quarter, and St. Joe taking that 7-0 lead. An impressive drive for the Indians.
Really was, Chuck. 1:43 off the clock. They went 64 yards in 5 plays. Picked up 2 first downs along the way, and the touchdown by Roskowski, and the Indians on top 7-0 with 6:57 left to play.
That is the first touchdown in the first quarter for St. Joe this season. Prior to that, they had only had a field goal, so they have been a bit of a slow starter this year. And Brian Witten was hoping tonight they could change that. Well, that certainly was the case.
Our thanks to the folks at Little Caesars Pizza. You know, life is busy, and Little Caesars Pizza understands. Their fast service and great low prices will have you taken care of and out the door in no time. Little Caesars, hot and ready items are ready for you when you are. One-topping pizzas, wings, and breadsticks are just minutes away from their oven to your table with 5 locations in Elkhart. Remember to stop by their newest location, now open on US 33. Little Caesars Pizza, and our crew really enjoyed Little Caesars tonight, partner.
Indeed they did. Well sated outside the truck. So Patrick Oliva puts the ball on the tee. Josh Shattuck said at practice this week, we may not have to work much on kickoff return this week because Oliva is one who typically can put the ball in the end zone. We'll see if that's the case here.
Kicking into the north breeze about 6 miles an hour, but
high spinner that's taken at the 7 and dropped. Kyron Pearson, though, with a hole, and look out. He gets out to the 35, and he was about a step away. Oliva, the kicker, along with Gavin Stefanik, makes the tackle.
Pretty good job of closing that gap. And again, when you got a kicker that realizes 6 is looking at him right in the eye, he got in there and got a piece.
So the Blazers went 3 and out on their first possession. We'll see if they can answer a St. Joe score here. They're going to give it to Mark Brownlee off the right side. That's worked pretty well this year, and it will again here. Brownlee running over people. Luke Leonard trying to get him. Finally drags him out at the 25.
Wow.
An impressive run by Brownlee, who picks up 39 on the carry. You'll get another look as you see he goes over the 700-yard mark for the season, just like he went over St. Joe tacklers.
Well, he really changed his per carry average, Chuck. He lost 3 yards on the first carry. Now he's averaging 18 yards a carry. Okay, I'm having fun with the numbers.
They'll go to Brownlee again, but a flag comes out here as Brownlee has a convoy in front of him. And I believe he stepped out of bounds, but this one's likely coming back as the flag was thrown right as the play got underway.
It's been an illegal procedure. I don't think they had time to hold by the time the flag was thrown.
Chuck Henry, our referee tonight. It's a sideline warning against Elkhart Central. That's all it is. So that's not a penalty. That's just a warning against the Blazers. And Brownlee's going to get credited here with an 11-yard run and a first down. You have to give the officials room to run the sidelines. Some of the Blazers apparently encroached on that. So it's 1st and 10 for the 14, and Brownlee with 2 big runs on this drive.
Brownlee now with 3 carries, 47 yards.
Jonathan Decker, the big right tackle for Elkhart Central, 6'6", 225 pounds, has been sealing the defensive end over there and doing a nice job.
Chandler seems like he's got a pretty good grip on what's going on tonight, Chuck.
Well, give the ball to Brownlee. That's worked well on this drive. Guess what they're going to do again, and Brownlee's going to the end zone. Touchdown, Elkhart Central. Like a hot knife through butter. Brownlee's 8th touchdown of the year, and boy, that didn't take much of a time to answer.
5:30 left to go in the first quarter.
Mark Brownlee, 3 plays, 64 yards. He carried on all 3 of them. And he's carrying the mail right now for Elkhart Central. Ryan Mullins on to try the extra point.
Only took a minute 27 to go down the field.
6:30 to go first quarter, and we are knotted up at 7 apiece. And you'll get another look at another Brownlee touchdown run courtesy of Bethel College Admissions. This kid is fun to watch.
.61 yards for Brownlee already here in the first quarter. We've still got 5.5 to go.
And he had a pretty good hole to go through. Mark Heestand had a chance to maybe get him, but that was 7 yards downfield. You let him get up ahead of steam like that, you're not going to get him. St. Joe was able to get to Brownlee in the backfield on the first possession. Elkhart Central made a couple of adjustments. And now both offenses clicking here in the first quarter, and we're all knotted up at 7.
6:30 left to go. That last drive took just 57 seconds.
So Brian Mullins will put it on the tee once again. A very gentle breeze at his back. And we may have a game similar to what we had last week when Plymouth and Northridge slugged it out. Mullins high spinning kick. Driscoll will take it this time at the 10. John Driscoll coming around the right side, and Driscoll forced out of bounds at the 34-yard line. I want to go downstairs to Bo Hunt for a Bills Heating sideline report. What in the heck happened? After 2 3-and-outs, both offenses exploded, Bo.
Well, they finally woke up. They got here. It was a little late getting out of school. But no, I think what it was, just the playmakers came out. The first series for both of them, and then they really were able to do it the second series for both teams. Playmakers come out, they made the plays. Line was able to make some good blocks on that as well. Brownlee, great runner, just fantastic. Ruskowski, just a great arm. He really opened up everything for Driscoll as well.
Good point. You want your stars to come out on a night like this, and they certainly did in the second possession. So let's see how St. Joe answers. Ruskowski puts Driscoll in motion, but Ruskowski keeps it himself. Cephas got a paw on him, and then that slowed him up enough where the rest of the Blazers could catch him at the 37-yard line, pick up a 3 on the play. And again, Ty Corey Edwards comes in to make the stop.
Does a good job of keeping the defense honest when you run the football. Linebackers, safeties have to stay home if they think you're going to run, and he's a good-sized runner, Ruskowski.
Well, the other thing, by bringing Driscoll in motion, the success they had with that jet sweep in the last possession, you have to respect that as well. Now 3 receivers to the right of Ashton Ruskowski. But Ruskowski looking left, and there is Driscoll coming out of the backfield on a wheel route. And Dennis finally flings him down at the 42-yard line, but not until he gets a first down on a 25-yard pickup.
Big chunks. My favorite kind of chocolate chip cookie, but partner there, cutting it up in big numbers here.
We talked about Driscoll coming out of the backfield last week and making 4 catches in the loss to New Prairie. And right there, they distracted everybody with the trips to the right, brought him underneath on the left, and there was nobody home for Central on defense. Now they give to Driscoll. Oh, fumble, and Driscoll gets back on at the 44, loss of 2 on the play. Bad handoff between Ruskowski and Driscoll.
So we talked in the pregame about how important turnovers would be. Absolutely crucial tonight. St. Joe nearly gave it up. Of course, Driscoll, the only guy who knew it was on the ground, so he got there first.
Well, Brian Witten talked before the game about his team needing to be more efficient on first and second down. They were in that scoring drive, but there's a first down play that puts them in a long yardage situation. Now can St. Joe dig its way out of this one?
Keep an eye on 24. He likes to use his tight end.
That's Connor Radigan. Ruskowski rolling out, flags on the play, and Ruskowski throws it away, but we'll see what the flag is all about.
Looks like maybe Driscoll on a hold.
It could be Driscoll or it could be Will Faulkner. That's who the umpire is talking to right now. Either way, it's a hold on St. Joe, and it's going to cost him some yardage.
Well, it would have been 3rd down and 12. Or 2nd down and 22. I guess you take the yardage.
Yeah, it's going to be more than that because the flag was at the 48-yard line. So they marched this one all the way back to the St. Joe 42. And that's going to set up 2nd and 26.
14 yards on the penalty then. First penalty of the game. St. Joe really hampered by penalties in the last game.
Patrick Oliva brings in the play from the sideline for his quarterback, Ashton Ruskowski, and now an official's timeout is taken. Play clock did not reset, though. Game clock was stopped, play clock was not, and Ruskowski throws that one over the head of Noah Hickey.
I don't think he intended to have an incomplete pass there, but not a bad idea. The coverage was pretty good over there.
So 3rd and 26, and so much for the first and second down efficiency, and it's put the Indians in a massive hole here, tied at 7, late first quarter.
First incomplete pass on the night for Ruskowski.
Central will make a change on defense. Jake Smith coming into the game at defensive line, 6'2" junior, hoping to get a little more pressure on Ruskowski. The Blazers have had their share of sacks this season. And they've had them from a variety of people. Ruskowski, the ball tipped. Radigan, did he hang on? Yes, he did, up at the 39-yard line. Kenneth Dennis brings him down, but now it makes it a 4th and manageable, and you're in plus territory. Don't be surprised if Brian Witten goes for it right here. Looks like the punt unit is coming onto the field, though, as you see Radigan making the juggling catch on the Bethel College admissions replay.
Gain of 14 on the play.
Vinny Ambrose going to go back deep just in case Oliva does kick this football. It's 4th and 8. Not sure Central really believes St. Joe is going to kick it away right here.
Driscoll, the up man.
They do snap it to Oliva, and he kicks it away. The idea here not to put it in the end zone, and he didn't. It's knocked down at the 5. And let's see if that's called a touchback. It is, because the ball was batted into the end zone. We saw that in the St. Joe Marion game a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, tough break there. The ball was going to come down inside the playing field, but the athlete down there trying to down it wasn't able to get a hand on it. It went in the end zone, 39 yards on the punt with no return.
See Josh Shattuck on the sideline as take a look at Ricky Roca, the ball being marked at the 20. The interesting thing about Josh Shattuck, high school football coach for 10 years, but he was a college basketball player at Alma College, and he played for the former Elkhart Central basketball coach, Terry Smith.
Good stop there by Elkhart Central.
Central gives it to Brownlee again on the sweep right. He's got blockers in front. Look out. Mark Brownlee off to the races again. Knocked out of bounds at the 46-yard line. 26-yard pickup of the play. Bobby Kiefer led the charge that time, the pulling guard for Central.
87 yards here in the first quarter for Brownlee. And Chuck, watch how they go for his legs, and that's not good enough. You got to grab him, and you got to take him down.
Kyron Pearson also had a nice block from the receiver slot for Central. And Kelly jumps offside for St. Joe. That'll cost the Tribe 5.
Second penalty of the night for St. Joe.
After having 16 last week, that has to be a cause of concern for Brian Witten.
Committed to faith, character, and excellence for 65 years, St. Joseph High School offers unparalleled opportunities in arts, athletics, and academics. Discover the only private high school in Michiana awarded 4 stars from Indiana's Department of Education at stjoehigh.com.
Chandler throws to Kyron Pearson coming out of the slot, and Pearson forced out of bounds in St. Joe territory at the 47-yard line. It was Austin Lee who made the stop that time as Pearson picks up his 15th catch of the season. He goes over the 200 yards in receiving mark for the season as well.
Picks up a couple of yards, going to be second down and 3 after that penalty. Another high percentage pass. I like what they're doing for Chandler.
St. Joe subbing people in and out, trying to keep the defense fresh on this warm night. It's got to be very warm down on the field turf right now. Second and 3, it's Chandler keeping himself big hole. Isaiah Chandler to the 24-yard line, a pickup of 23 on the play. Chandler, the 185-pound junior, has been a good rusher for the Blazers this year, averaging almost 6 yards a carry. You can see why there. And again, Bobby Kiefer, the pulling guard, with a great block on the play.
Gain of 18 yards.
Now it's Mark Brownlee. Hesitation move. Brownlee around the corner, and finally St. Joe able to knock him out of bounds. Noah Hickey put his head in there to make the stop at the 25-yard line, pick up a 5 on the play. Brownlee, a transfer from Elkhart Memorial. He spent the first 2 years of his high school career running for the Crimson Chargers. Had 749 yards his freshman year and went over the 1,000-yard mark last season before transferring to Central. And he's got to be close to the 100-yard mark tonight.
He's got 92, Chuck, in 7 carries.
Roca in motion. They'll give it to Ricky Roca. He was Central's leading rusher last year, but he gets no gain on this play. Talked to Ricky about that this week at practice. I said, how do you like this new role? He goes, it's a lot easier to accept that role when you got a guy like Mark Brownlee running the football because you can see how much better he makes our offense.
And I think he had a pretty good idea how good Brownlee was. He played against him last year.
Roca, a terrific two-way player. Josh Shattuck refers to him as a Swiss Army knife.
Well, I tell you what, this first quarter has had a lot of action.
Roca in motion again on 3rd and 5, but they'll give it to Brownlee. He's pulled down from behind. Good pursuit that time by St. Joe. Casey Connery, whose name we called incessantly during the Marion game, makes the tackle there. 4th down, and it'll be Brian Mullins coming on for a field goal attempt for Elkhart Central. Mullins is 2 of 3 on field goal attempts this year. His long is 38. This will be a 41-yarder.
Both these teams have excellent kickers, and they could decide the outcome here. Big opportunity for Central to take the lead.
Mullins lines it up. Evan Price is the holder. The snap a little high. The kick is on its way, and it is no good. It's short. So Mullins got under that one a little bit. It hurtled end over end towards the crossbar, but came up short, and St. Joe survives, holding on downs, and will take over 1st and 10 at its own 20.
After another pretty solid effort by Central to move the football down into St. Joe territory. Thor Industries loves this time of year because team pride is on full display. That team culture from Friday Night Sidelines extends to our Thor Industries team. Build your future right here in Elkhart with one of Thor's excellent career opportunities. Get started today at thorindustries.com.
There's Brian Kelly, his wife Pocky, watching this game down on the sidelines tonight. Of course, Brian with a big game against Vanderbilt Saturday afternoon at the stadium, but he wants to watch his son Kenzel play this evening. John Underley on the carry for St. Joe. Picks up about 2 yards on that play before he's brought down. Underley filling in for the injured J.P. Lewis, who is likely out for the regular season for St. Joe. They're hoping he might be back in time for the playoffs.
Gave him 3 yards on that one upstairs, his first carry of the night.
Underley, not a big young man, 5'8", 147 pounds and a junior, but he is quick. If you're not going to be big, you better be quick.
You better be quick.
2nd and 8. Roskowski throws. Connor Radigan makes the grab, finds a seam, and gets upfield. Did he get the first down? Yes, he did. Past the 30-yard line. Radigan with his 3rd grab of the night and his 17th of the year. He is the leading receiver on this St. Joe team. And the 6'1 senior, also an honor roll student.
6 out of 7. 92 yards passing in the first quarter for Mr. Roskowski.
So it's 1st and 10 for St. Joe at its own 31 as we go into the waning seconds of quarter number 1. They'll give it to John Driscoll. Driscoll trying to move his way through traffic. Blazers trying to strip the ball, and Driscoll gets a 5-yard carry. Laz Miller finally wrestled him down for the tackle. Miller, a big 6'4 senior at defensive end. St. Joe lining up like they want to fire off one more play here before the quarter comes to an end. We'll see if Roskowski decides to line them up. It looks like they might just take a pass on it and let the clock expire for quarter number 1. A quarter which had some offensive highlights. St. Joe fired the first salvo. John Driscoll with the run, then Ashton Roskowski with the score, and then it was the Mark Brownlee show. 3 straight runs to pay dirt, 7-7 between the Tribe and Blazers on 46. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week is being brought to you by Bethel College Admissions, equipping for lifelong service. We're equipped for sideline reports tonight. Bo Hunt back in his native land after joining me in the booth last week. Bo, your thoughts on quarter number 1?
A lot of adjustments happened, I believe, in that first quarter, and I think we'll see some more develop as the game goes along. St. Joe really wanted to start out with the run. They figured they're going to stop that run. We went to the pass that opened up the run, and with Central, they got to the outside with Brownlee instead of getting up the middle like he has in the past. He was able to go off tackle and really get to the outside and pick up a lot of his yards. We'll continue to see these coaches make some adjustments throughout the game, guys.
From the shotgun, 2nd and 5 for St. Joe. Roskowski keeps it himself on a designed quarterback draw, hangs onto the football and plows ahead for 4 yards to set up 3rd and short. We want to remind you our second quarter tonight is brought to us by our friends at Marian University, a great university in a great city, Catholic education in Indianapolis. It's 3rd and 2 for Ashton Roskowski and St. Joe. Impressive numbers by both offenses in the first quarter, Bob.
It really was, and the time of possession was interesting. First drive took 2:21, then 59, then 143, 57, and then 2:15. Longest drive of the first half, 2:33. So the defenses have been pretty good, but the offense have been prolific.
Well, John Driscoll doing the job on offense here as the big St. Joe running back crashes for 12 yards and a first down. Out to the Elkhart Central 49. Driscoll came into this game with 450 yards rushing on the season.
At 37 here in the first half.
He had a 218-yard performance to start the year against Concord, and he's a young man with very strong legs. He can squat 330. Split backfield here for St. Joe, and they'll give it to Driscoll again, and Driscoll plowing his way up to the 45-yard line. Nice 4-yard pickup there. That's got to make Brian Witten happy. What doesn't make him happy is the fact that Driscoll's helmet came off on the play, so he'll have to leave the field for a play.
That's not good. Somebody get the tape.
The official perhaps giving Driscoll a pardon here. I'm not sure.
Central calling a timeout here.
Well, Elkhart Central taking a timeout with 10:51 to go in the first half.
Give me a chance to tell you about Imagineering Finishing Technologies, a world-class metal finishing company specializing in plating, coating, testing, and consulting services. 59 years as a knowledge source for metal finishing solutions. You can reach us at info@iftworldwide.com.
We mentioned Notre Dame football on Saturday. Well, we've got a Big Ten doubleheader on the Family Broadcasting Corporation radio stations on Pulse FM 103.1. Ball State, who looked impressive at the stadium last Saturday, goes down to Memorial Stadium in Bloomington to take on undefeated Indiana. And then Saturday night, Missouri looking for revenge as they come up to Ross 8. Purdue looking for its first win of the year. You can hear that one Saturday night at 7:30 on all three of our frequencies on Pulse FM.
There'll be a little bit of urgency down there in West Lafayette. I think they thought they turned the corner a little bit last year, moving in the right direction, and be a big win for them to get against Missouri.
Want to welcome all of you listening or watching on Facebook Live tonight as we join you from beautiful Rice Field on the banks of the Elkhart River. 7-7 tie. Early second quarter. St. Joe looking at a 2nd and 6. Ashton Ruskowski, the quarterback, pitches and gets the first down and more. Tight roping the sidelines is Driscoll as he gets out of bounds on that play at the 30-yard line. Pickup of 16 on the play.
Got some nice leverage outside there, and Driscoll, talented running back.
Well, that's a beautiful read by Ruskowski and great downfield blocking. Mark Heastan pushed Linnell Cephas 20 yards down the field that time.
He would have kept pushing, but the running back had gone by.
Trips to the right of Ruskowski on 1st and 10. He's been effective throwing the ball on first down. Let's see if they try it here. Nope, he's going to just plow right up the middle of the field and pick up 2. That time, Central was able to make the read and the play.
I like Ruskowski running the ball, you know, again, to keep the defense honest, but got to be careful.
Sean Holman making the tackle that time for Central, the 6-foot junior who's a 3-sport athlete. He also wrestles and shot puts on the track team. So it's 2nd and 8. Again, 3 to the right of Ruskowski. Ruskowski, does he throw over the middle? It's incomplete. It was nearly intercepted.
Some really good defense right there by Elkhart Central.
Sunrise Price was in to break it up. Connor Radigan was trying to run a slant route that time, and Price read it pretty well, and Radigan had to act almost as much as defensive back as he did receiver there.
Got some nice names in the game this year, don't we? Sunrise Price. We had a senator from Riley High School. Love it.
3rd and 8 for St. Joe. They're down to the Blazer 28. They are in field goal range. They would not be afraid to try it with Patrick Oliva, but they'd love to get the touchdown here. Ruskowski in trouble, scrambles, look at him go. Ruskowski with a first down to the 17-yard line. What a run by Ashton Ruskowski, a pickup of 11 on the play.
And it looked like he was going to be sacked, went right in between them. I've got him, you got him, neither one of us got him.
Well, he had 116 rushing yards last year against Hobart in a sectional win for St. Joe. Another one of these quarterbacks who trains with Evan Sharpley, the former Irish quarterback. And Ruskowski with a good read of the situation that time. He's set up a 1st and 10. Driscoll in motion, gets the handoff on the jet sweep, and he is jetting his way to the end zone. Touchdown, St. Joe. The Elkhart Central coach is definitely wanting a holding call there, but they didn't get it, and St. Joe is on the board again. We'll see if we see it on the Bethel College admissions replay. Austin Lee had a hold of the outside of the jersey, and that's why they wanted the holding call.
I'll tell you what, Driscoll is a powerful runner. He gets up ahead of his team. A couple of outstanding running backs here tonight.
And now we have a flag for delay of game called against St. Joe. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. I was watching the replay. Ryan Witten not happy with another penalty from his squad.
24 yards on 3 penalties tonight for St. Joe.
Bo Hunt down on the sidelines. You picked up what happened there. What happened on that extra point delay of game?
Yeah, they ended up snapping the ball before the whistle was actually blown. So Mr. Henry gave him a delay of game for that.
Well, that's the proper call. Shouldn't matter for Patrick Oliva. Snap is good, kick is up, and it is good as well. And with 9:35 to go in the first half, St. Joe is back on top for the second time tonight. The running of John Driscoll finds pay dirt at the end of this one, and the Indians lead at 14-7 on 46. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week is brought to you by Crown Trophy. They're nationally known and locally owned. Good crowd on hand in the Blazers student section tonight. They said on Twitter they were going to show out, and they have done so in their tie-dye tonight. And it is 14-7 in favor of St. Joe against Elkhart Central on just a gorgeous September night here in Indiana.
4 minutes and 4 seconds on that drive for St. Joe. Started in the first quarter, and they're on the board leading 14-7. They went 80 yards on that drive, and tell you what, their passing and rushing yards really well balanced so far.
Oliva's spinning kick goes hurtling into the blue turf of the end zone for the touchback. That is what Patrick Oliva strives to do on every kickoff, and he got the job done that time. And Central will have to go 1st and 10 from its own 20.
Interested in improving all areas of your fitness program or sport? Join the Strength and Conditioning Center in Mishawaka. That's Beacon Sports Performance. They offer youth, high school, and adult performance training. Visit the website at beaconhealthandfitness.org today.
We have not seen Isaiah Chandler throw the ball very much tonight. Obviously, with Mark Brownlee running it as effectively as he hasn't had to do that very much. But let's see if Josh Shattuck decides to open up the playbook a little bit here on 1st and 10. Nope, they're going to give it to Brownlee. Why not? Around the left side. Brownlee scooting down the sidelines, running over people again and picking up about 20 on the play. Why fix anything that's not broken?
Puts him over 100 yards for the ball game. He's at 113 here early in the second quarter.
I really like the way the Blazer guards can pull, though. We were talking about Bobby Kiefer a lot tonight. Sean Holman just had a pulling block that time. Holman, a shot putter on the track team, and somebody the coaches describe as a fiend in the weight room. He is there all the time. Now they fake it to Brownlee, and Chandler rolls to his right. Chandler fires, and a nice defensive play by Connor Radigan that time as he came over the top of the receiver to knock the pass away.
Really good defense there. 2 out of 4 for 11 yards for Chandler so far. He had some good time. I like the way he rolled out, Chuck. He got himself squared up, threw a pretty good ball. Defense made a great play.
They're high on all of their quarterbacks at Central. They were disappointed that Bryson Sherwood got hurt, but they feel very confident in Isaiah Chandler. And if anything were to happen to Chandler, they feel very good about his backup right now, Cameron Wiltfong, a sophomore.
Familiar name. His brother quarterbacked this team last year.
Chandler throws out in the flat and has his man, Dominic Davis, who's small but quick, and look at him go. Davis is gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Central. Knotted at 14, or just a point away from that. Wow, can Davis scoot? Well, we talked about the speed of Elkhart Central and being a track team. Dominic Davis runs track, and it looked like he was in the 60-yard dash when he picked that one up.
Really impressive. 70 yards passing in the ball game now. 113 yards, well, actually 131 yards rushing for Elkhart Central.
Leads don't last long in this one. Mullins on to try the extra point. It is up, and it is no good. But let's get another look at the touchdown by Dominic Davis. Bob, watch him scoot.
Well, the thing is, Chuck, he gets a good angle here and a couple of nice blocks. The timing on the blocks was perfect. Now he's got an angle, and they don't have enough quickness to cut him off down the sidelines, and he's gone.
You had a linebacker chasing a running back, and that is an offensive coordinator's dream.
Man. 9:09 left to go in the first half. And we've had some, we always talk about our big highlight at the end of the game, our electrifying play. We've had about half dozen of them so far.
It will not be easy to choose them tonight. 14-13, St. Joe leading by an extra point. Well, St. Joe won on the game of the week 2 weeks ago by an extra point. We'll see if that holds up tonight.
26 seconds on that drive for Elkhart Central, answering back for the Indians' touchdown.
Now John Driscoll having a good night running the football, as you see there, and Driscoll will be one of the deep men for this kickoff return, along with Asante Anglin. Brian Mullins, who has 7 touchbacks on the season, we'll see if he can get his 8th right here. High spinning kick, Anglin takes it at the 5. Anglin avoided 1 tackler, and that was it. He gets taken down at the 21-yard line. Good coverage that time by the Blazers on special teams. Justin Crook and Devin Brink were down there to make the stop.
Didn't quite have a lane to get into and had to jump over 1 defender. Boy, anytime you slow down and give those guys a chance to get a pretty good crack on you, he went down at the 21.
Well, let's see if the pattern holds up. Offense struggled, then offense finds the answer. Offense struggle, offense finds the answer. We'll see if that continues here as the coaches make adjustments. A high-powered chess match here at Rice Field tonight.
101 yards rushing in the ball game for St. Joe with 92 yards passing. Pretty good balance.
And Roskowski will run it again right here behind lead blocking that time by Michael Connery. The pulling guard helped open up a hole for 7 yards for Ashton Roskowski.
Ashton's at 30 yards tonight carrying the ball.
Both of these offensive lines have been very impressive tonight.
Execution. Sharp, both teams pulling guards, pulling players. Doing a good job.
I want to ask Bo Hunt about that pulling guard situation maybe after this play. We'll see what happens here on 2nd and 4. Trips to the right of Roskowski. He'll give it to Driscoll, and Driscoll is met right in the line of scrimmage. Got back, maybe picked up a yard on the play. Good pursuit that time by the Blazers. Is coming in to make the hit was Jason Zalea. But Bo, when the guards are pulling, what can a defense do to combat that?
Well, the biggest thing is you got to take them on head on. You can't, when the pulling guard is coming around, you can't go around that block, because that's exactly what they want you to do, is kind of go around and make that hole even bigger. You got to take it head on right there. And most of the time what you're going to do is try to take their legs out and block and stop that hole right there and block the hole so the running back can't get there. And then the running back has to bounce it outside, and then your defensive end or outside linebacker should clean it up then.
3rd and 4. Roskowski looking downfield, has his man Noah Hickey, hangs onto the football at the 45-yard line for his 2nd catch of the night. Hickey, a very talented young man. Not only is he a terrific athlete, he's quite the thespian. He's played Artie and lost in Yonkers, and he's playing the role of receiver well tonight as he picks up 18.
Nice throw. Good timing. You can tell those guys have worked on that timing. You're rolling out as a quarterback. You got the guy going the same direction. You can hit him. Tough to stop. 7 out of 9 on the night now for 110 yards for Roskowski.
1st and 10. And a throw in the backfield to Hickey, who eludes tacklers, but a flag comes in. That's going to be a blocking violation on St. Joe. And this play will be coming back.
Yeah, there was like kind of a one-on-one out there when it looked like the defender had an angle. All of a sudden he couldn't move, so
another penalty against the Indians. You'll see it here on the Bethel College admissions replay. Patrick Oliva is the blocker on the play, and right there, he just takes the Elkhart Central player to the ground, but he did it by getting his arms around him on the outside.
Can't do that?
Not
no.
legally.
10-yard penalty.
So
4th penalty of the night for St. Joe for 34 yards.
Winds up being 1st and 20 now for the Indians. Roskowski over the top finds Austin Lee, the tight end. Lee still on his feet in central territory down to the 37. Nice pickup on the play as the Indians pick up 28 on the pass from Roskowski to Lee. You get another look courtesy of Bethel College Admissions. And again, the offensive line giving Roskowski a very nice pocket that time.
Central's doing a good job that time of keeping him in the pocket. We're going to let him run or get outside, but just that extra time, and the tight end did a good job. That back shoulder pass looking like he wanted to stop and maybe let them run by him.
Driscoll on that jet sweep motion again picks up another 12 yards and a 1st down for St. Joe. But I think we might have another penalty here on the play, and it's a holding call against the St. Joe offensive line.
Well, you think back of the touchdown by Driscoll when the Elkhart Central bench went berserk talking about a hold that wasn't called. And now the officials, sometimes when that happens, they have it in their mind. They saw it that time.
By the way, we appreciate all of you who are watching on Facebook Live tonight. And Michael Kirby, I got your Berman's reference. A sporting goods store in downtown Elkhart from yesteryear.
I've still got a coupon from there. I got to get over.
I think that's where I got my letter sweater.
Oh, yeah.
1st and 17. They gave those for the speech team. Here's Roskowski trying to go up the middle, and he picks up about 3 on the play.
Central doing a good job of staying home against Roskowski. He's had some success, but that quick jab step, went back 1 step and then turned upfield. Blue Blazers were right there. Again, if you're just joining us, Elkhart Central wearing jerseys to honor the National Guard. Tonight, kind of a military look there with the military green with some blue and numbers outlined in gold, but a little different look if you're looking for the Blue Blazers. They are tonight honoring the Indiana National Guard.
2nd and 15. Roskowski with time to throw. Pocket collapses, so he'll run to the left, and he's got room to run. And he finally dives forward to about the 30 or 31-yard line. We'll see where they spot it. Actually, they're going to mark it way back at the 33. No, up at the 32.
So a gain of 10 yards on the play.
And he definitely dove forward to the 31, but they say his knee touched at the 33, so that's where they mark it. It'll be 3rd and 5.
Again, that penalty would have been a 1st down.
Members of the Western Michigan coaching staff watching on Facebook Live tonight as well. Roskowski throws in the flat. Driscoll couldn't hang on, and big decision now for Brian Witten.
Oh, it looked like bowling going on down there. A couple of pins went flying after the ball went in the gutter.
So 4th and 5 now for St. Joe. And do you let Patrick Oliva try a 50-yard field goal, or do you go for the 1st down here? I got to think they've got enough confidence in Ashton Roskowski. They'll go for the 1st.
Pretty good play call the last time. It's just the 3rd incompletion of the night for Roskowski, but the ball was right on target. Brian Witten.
Brian, in his 3rd year, a Penn grad, also went to Earlham College. He was the defensive coordinator at St. Joe 3 years ago. He's going to let the clock tick down. He tells Al DeRue, I want to use a timeout right here. With 4:49 to go in the 1st half, we'll see what the Indians decide to do on 4th and 6 when we return. The Tribe leading by 1 on 46. This edition of the TV46 High School Football Game of the Week is brought to us by the Indiana High School Athletic Association, partnering with TV46 for 28 years. With Bob Nagel and Bo Hunt, Mr. B, found on the side of the press box here at Rice Field in Elkhart, an edifice that has been hosting football games in Elkhart since 1924, but brand new field turf, only the second game for this field turf since it was installed during the summer. Of course, they had a big flood here in the off season, which put them a little behind getting the field turf in, but they got the job done.
And the new field turf does float, so, oh my.
And instead of 4th down and 5, St. Joe may have just picked up a first down.
And
an
that's
encroachment call against Central, and you'd wonder if Ashton Ruskowski might have given them a little bit of a hard countdown there, the third-year starter at quarterback.
That is the first penalty of the night against Elkhart Central.
Josh Shattuck not too pleased as he looks on from the Blazers sideline, and Chuck Henry wants the chains brought out to measure for the first down. Shattuck in his second year at the helm here at Central. He was at Gladwin, Michigan to start as a head coach, then went to Seymour, home of the Owls.
Who?
Exactly.
Yeah. You got me.
And it's a first down for St. Joe on the Blazer penalty. Boy, that, you said it's only their first penalty tonight, but it's a huge one for Elkhart Central. Keeping the drive alive for St. Joe with 4:49 to go before halftime. Coming up at halftime, by the way, you'll meet our TCU student athletes and you'll see highlights and stats on the Mary's Match Be the Match halftime report.
Tough break there for Central, but they got to bow their neck and should they get a stop here.
1st and 10 from the Blazer 28. Ruskowski flushed out of the pocket, down he goes. Central finally gets the sack they've been looking for as Saya Davis comes in and makes the hit from the defensive line position along with Laz Miller.
Hoorah, hoorah. His dad would tell him.
Miller got to him first, and Davis helped finish him off for Laz Miller. That's his second sack of the season. Versatile basketball player to go with his football career. Celebrated a birthday earlier this week. And he's a 46 Sports follower, Bob, so he got the birthday shout out.
Absolutely. Lost the 6 yards. Big play there for Central.
2nd and 16. Ruskowski wants to put it up and does. Radigan was open, but it's overthrown. Father Terry, the team chaplain over on the sideline, was closest to the ball.
Well, he was running a good pattern, the good father was, but
he was open. He still is.
Looks good in black too, doesn't he?
Good thing. It's a job requirement, I guess. Dennis Teagarden on the right, Brian Witten on the left. Trying to figure out what to do here on 3rd and 16 with 4 minutes left before halftime.
Might be coming after him.
Ruskowski, here comes the screen, and they got Driscoll open. Beautifully called play, and Driscoll's got the first down and more, banging off tacklers to the 10. They knew that Central was going to be coming after him, and they took advantage of it with the screen.
22 yards on the play. What a great call, as you said, Chuck. And you got it in the hands of a guy who could turn an 8 or 9 yard gain into 22 and a first down. And goal, I think they're just the nose of the ball, just inside the 10.
Corey Edwards finally made the stop. And you're right, it is 1st and goal here for St. Joe. Driscoll has had a big game, but it's Ruskowski pitching it to him. Driscoll lost it out of bounds. Now the question is that an incomplete pass or a fumble?
Not sure Ruskowski would.
I think Chuck Henry wants to talk this one over with Al DeRue, but DeRue has marked it at the 5 yard line, and that's where they're going to spot it.
It looked like a forward pass, didn't it, partner?
I thought he had tossed the ball forward, and I think the side judge over on the other side wants to talk to Chuck Henry about that possibility, but they're going to spot it at the 5. That's what Josh Shattuck is saying. You don't have to be much of a lip reader. He's saying that's a forward pass right there, and it should be incomplete and 2nd and goal from the 10.
So they're going to call it a run.
Ruskowski is on the run here. He needs a block. He got one from Radigan. Touchdown, St. Joe, but a flag comes in from behind the play. Hold everything, which might be exactly what St. Joe did.
I saw Radigan put the hands to the helmet.
Chuck Henry, the referee, signals the penalty is on Radigan for a block in the back. And this one is coming back. And you'll see another copy from Bethel College Admissions.
54 yards and penalties here in the first half.
And that little nudge that he gave to Sunrise Price was just enough to change it.
Good position, waiting to get set, break down, and try to go after the ball carrier, but just a little bump in the back.
Still not terrible position here for St. Joe. It's 2nd and goal from the 11.
Josh Shattuck had to turn to his bench and tell the assistant coaches to knock it off. I'll handle this.
Well, they were still riding the referee pretty good about the lack of a forward pass call on the first down play. Roskowski fires. The ball tipped at the line of scrimmage and incomplete. It'll be 3rd down.
I like the penetration that Central's been able to get here. Roskowski are 9 out of 14 for 160 yards.
Well, that's the thing. Central's defensive front is starting to get some more pressure against this St. Joe offense. You take a look at Rodney McGraw, the big 6'6" defensive end. They really like the way his motor goes.
14th play of the drive coming up here, Chuck. They took over with 9:09 to go in the second quarter.
3rd and goal. Roskowski fires over the middle, incomplete. He wanted to get it to Noah Hickey. Hickey was looking for a flag, but none is forthcoming. And on 4th down, Brian Witten's going to send his field goal unit out to try to pad the lead, or is he going to just send a couple more receivers out there for Roskowski? Oliva is out there on the field, but I don't see any kind of tee in his hand. Roskowski is his holder, and now Oliva is marking off his spot for the kick.
Well, in college, you can't use a tee on that, so.
Oliva with 2 field goals this year already. This one is blocked. Central got great penetration on that play and managed to block the field goal and keep it a 1-point game. I believe it was big Rodney McGraw who got in there and got a paw on it. You'll get another look courtesy of Bethel College Admissions. And right there up the middle was the penetration.
Wow.
We'll see if we can pick up the number here. It's Laz Miller who got the block that time. Miller, the 6'4" senior, comes right through, and this is still a 14-13 ball game.
Ball at the 20 with time to do something about it for Elkhart Central.
3:15. They have not needed much time on their scoring drives tonight. Chandler over the middle. Ricky Roca makes the catch, and look at him go. Roca looking to get some downfield blocks. Noah Hickey finally runs him out of bounds in St. Joe territory at the 43. 37 yards on the connection from Chandler to Roca. They're not asking Chandler to throw the ball very deep, but if he can hit those short routes, the Blazers have speed to burn.
107 yards passing in the first half.
On 2 completions.
4 now. Gains of 9, 11.
And then
had the big one.
The big one to Davis, and now a 37-yarder here. Chandler keeps it himself, and he's got pretty good wheels. Chandler down the sideline, taken down at the 15-yard line. Trevor Giacacchi making the touchdown-saving tackle, but Central moving the ball quickly here in the last part of the first half. And Isaiah Chandler showing why Josh Shattuck really likes him as a quarterback here at Central.
33 yards on the carry. 51 yards rushing for the quarterback. Well, I tell you what, a coaching staff puts together a game plan. Reminds me of Bill Walsh with Joe Montana. If he's good, let's make him great. Give him a
St. Joe showing blitz. Chandler hit in the backfield, and down he goes. Casey Connery comes in from that middle linebacker position. Connery, the 6'1", 235-pound senior, the leading tackler for this St. Joe team, just got his 5th tackle for loss this season.
Quickly puts Chandler down to 49 yards rushing, 37 in the first half for Ruskowski. Boy, these numbers really tell a story, and that's why we've got a great game. 14-13 now with $1:55 to go, first half.
Kyron Pearson has man coverage down at the bottom of your screen. Let's see if Chandler's going to him. Nope, Chandler's going the other way, but threw it too far. He was under pressure. He was trying to hit Roca coming out of the slot. But St. Joe knocking Chandler to the turf as he made the throw.
Teachers Credit Union understands the importance of growing your future, whether you're growing your family, your square footage, or your business. Teachers Credit Union is here for you with financial solutions that'll help you succeed. Visit tcunet.com to start growing your future today. Federally insured by the NCUA, they are an equal housing opportunity lender.
Well, we have a good one here tonight. We expect a good one next week when we move back into the Northern Lakes Conference. Our first look at the 2nd-ranked Northwood Panthers, and they will have a challenge from their Elkhart County rivals when the Northridge Raiders, Tom Wogeman's team, makes the trek from Middlebury to Napanee for that one. We will too, Friday night at 11, Saturday morning at 9. By the way, remember, that's on the 21st night of September. Northridge and Northwood on 46.
What a good idea.
We'll move earth, wind, and fire to get there.
September. I've heard that song.
So 3rd and 12 for Elkhart Central from the 17-yard line. The Blazers trailing by just 1. And for Josh Shattuck, the thing you don't want to do here is make a mistake that might take you out of field goal range.
This would be a good one for Chandler if he's going to roll out the pass. If your guy's not open, throw it away. Chandler's been impressive in this first half.
A stack formation here for Central at the receiving slots. Chandler is going to roll right. Fires towards the end zone too high. It's incomplete. Kenzel Kelly applying pressure that time from the defensive end position to make him get rid of it. And so Brian Mullins will get another opportunity at a field goal here. He's 0 for 1 tonight.
34-yard, not much more than an extra point.
Mullins' long this season is 38. Chandler not too happy with Mark Brownlee as they're coming off the field. I think Brownlee might have run the wrong route that time.
Big kick here. If Central could go to locker room with the lead.
We're still a minute 40 before halftime, so St. Joe could still have time to say something about that. The kick is up, it's on its way, and it is no good. He missed it off to the left again. So Mullins having a tough night kicking the football, 0 for 2 on field goals and just 1 for 2 on extra points.
Well, if they get that opportunity again, I think they're going to go for it, Chuck, because, you know, you're 0 for 2. That wouldn't be a decision that the head coach would make. I think the kicker has made that decision by missing 2. And he's frustrated. I saw him working when we were over here for practice, and I'll tell you what, he's a dedicated kicker, but I'm not sure exactly if that was tipped at all.
It's possible because it did not come off the foot as you would expect a kick to do. So perhaps that person penetrating from the left side was able to get a finger on.
Plenty of leg.
With a minute 35 to go before halftime, they give it to John Driscoll again. Why not? He picks up 5, and Driscoll has to be flirting with the 100-yard mark tonight as well.
Driscoll now with 85 yards. We've seen 2 really good running backs. We've seen 2 really good quarterbacks. We got ourselves what we wanted, partner. A really good football team, or football game.
2nd and 4. Ruskowski with no backs in the backfield, 5 wide. He'll lay it out there. He wants his man, and it's just overthrown. He was looking for John Driscoll coming out from the slot. And Driscoll trying to argue that he got held a little bit as he was trying to go down the field. It'll be 3rd and 4.
I like the sportsmanship there. The Elkhart Central defensive back helped Driscoll get his jersey back on. He might have been the one that pulled it off.
Corey Edwards tugging at the jersey of Driscoll, who as soon as he hit the ground was looking for the flag.
9 out of 16 now for Ruskowski, who started 8 out of 10.
Ruskowski on the option, tries to throw it forward. That ball will get out of bounds, and that's an incomplete pass and stops the clock with 57 seconds left before halftime.
Now 9 out of 17.
There was no question about that one being a forward pass. And St. Joe lucky that when that ball came off the hand of John Driscoll, it didn't wind up in the hands of an Elkhart Central defender.
Thing was popping around there. Ruskowski now 1 of his last 7 passing in the ball game, and a lot of that has to go to credit the Elkhart Central defense for the pressure putting on.
With the play clock going down to 2, Brian Witten will use another timeout right here to make sure his punt unit is ready to go on this one.
Really happy to have Marian University as one of our sponsors. They're sponsoring our quarters tonight. A great university in a great city. That's Marian University.
Boy, this is a really rugged NIC North this season. We mentioned earlier Elkhart Central ranked number 5 in the AP poll. They're ranked number 7 in the IFCA, and 4 teams in the NIC North, Penn, Mishawaka, Elkhart Central, and New Prairie, are ranked in this week's IFCA polls. St. Joe was number 11, so they're not far. And then South Bend Adams, a very dangerous team, despite a 2-2 record.
You know, it is a warm night here. 83, I believe, at kickoff. Haven't seen it have any effects on either team. Both teams playing with a lot of energy.
And you would think with the field turf, that seems to retain the heat a little bit more as Oliva's kick goes away and rolls down to the 31-yard line. It's picked up there by Kyron Pearson. Pearson still on his feet, goes out of bounds at about the 48. So pretty good field position here for Elkhart Central with 46 seconds left. And I know you just said, well, maybe you don't go for a field goal here, but if you get close enough and there's only 5 seconds left, maybe you give Mullins another shot.
Well, he certainly has the range to get it in from, say, 55 yards out.
Of course, Central hoping they can get 6 or 7 on the board right here, maybe even 8.
At the 48.
There you see Mark Brownlee, the running back, behind Isaiah Chandler.
How much time do you think is left, partner?
46 seconds.
Oh, they hit our number again, didn't they?
With 1 timeout remaining for Central. Chandler going to air it out. He's trying to go down the field. Touchdown, Elkhart Central, Spencer Stalker. "52 yards, no flags."
Wow.
Stalker, a state finalist in the 1600 relay. He didn't have to run 400 yards that time, just 50.
What a throw. And the defensive back was in good position for a ball that's a little bit underthrown, but that ball hung out there nicely. What a great pass and throw.
Chandler with his 3rd touchdown pass of the season. Mullins on to try the extra point. The kick is up, and this one is good. Just 38.5 ticks before halftime, and the Blazers are on top for the first time tonight. You get another look at the Chandler connection with Spencer Stalker. What a beautiful ball.
How about this first half, Chuck? Chandler 159 yards passing on 5 out of 9. Ruskowski 160 yards passing on 9 out of 17.
Well, Josh Shattuck said they needed to get more productivity out of the passing game. Boy, they've had it tonight.
Be a little concerned if I'm St. Joe, because one of the things that we've seen in the second quarter is a lot less running going on by Brownlee, who might get a chance to get recharged a little bit. I'd like to think that he's got some good energy ready to go in the second half.
Well, Elkhart Central has had 3 big pass plays against the St. Joe defense. St. Joe had only been giving up 112 yards per game through the air. Chandler has taken care of that in spades tonight.
Man, a lot of 52 yard, 37 yards.
And the one to Dominic Davis had to be about 70 yards as well.
It was 59, actually. But yeah, big chunks.
So here's the kickoff by Brian Mullins. It's a squib kick that Driscoll will field at his 11. And Driscoll trying to get to the outside, and he's got blockers. And he finally gets shoved out of bounds at the 45-yard line. It's like watching Ali Frazier. It's just two heavyweights going toe-to-toe and swinging haymakers.
Man, St. Joe will get the ball with 31 seconds to go. Got all the way out to the 43, so check a couple of completions in 31 seconds. You could be looking at a field goal back the other way. Could be a three-point game.
So they mark him out of bounds at the 43. St. Joe with a solid kicker in Patrick Oliva. But we just talked about the Blazers maybe getting in field goal range and then hitting a touchdown on their first play from scrimmage. And Roskowski wants to air it out and try to answer. He finds Radigan, who steps out of bounds at the Central 45, a pickup of 12 on the play. And you can't give the St. Joe receivers too much cushion because Ashton Roskowski is way too accurate for that.
172 yards passing now for Roskowski. This is in the first half.
Roskowski played with a Notre Dame commitment this summer in 7-on-7. Kyron Williams was one of his teammates. He's committed to the University of Notre Dame. And they said Ashton really reads coverage as well. We'll see what he does here. Blazers look like they're going to drop 7 on this play.
Both teams with over 300 yards of offense in this first half.
So Roskowski, with nobody open, throws it away. A wise decision with 21 seconds left.
And he wasn't outside the tackle box, Chuck. Why?
Because there is no such thing as we were informed in high school football. Chuck Henry letting us know before the game, hey, there is no pocket. So you can't worry about a guy being outside the pocket in high school football. And that's why there's an intentional grounding call right there.
And there was nobody in that area of the field.
So it doesn't matter like it does on Saturdays or Sundays about a tackle box. That only means something when you go to Sportsman Enterprises, or at least that was the way it was back in the day here in Elkhart.
That's a big loss and another penalty for St. Joe, Chuck. That's 64 yards of penalties in the first half.
After 160 yards of penalties last week. 2nd and 20 for St. Joe back at its own 45. Roskowski under pressure. He's got nowhere to go this time. Down he goes. Sacked in the backfield. Sean Holman gets him for a loss of 5. And St. Joe will use its last time out.
Could use that famous play the Catholic teams use, Chuck. They could kneel.
Well, that's a possibility, although Central does have a timeout remaining. 3rd and 25, and we'll see what Brian Witten tries to do right here with his team down by 6 and only 11 seconds left.
Second sack of the night, and that is to go along with about 6 really good hurries in this ball game. Josh Shattuck got to feel pretty good about the way this first half has gone. We knew that these were two very good teams, very prolific offensively. You just wondered if Central could keep up. They have, and they've got some big play fireworks on their ball club.
What a beautiful facility this is here at Rice Field. It is one of the better settings for high school football in northern Indiana, with the Elkhart River just off to the north and the great Tom Kurth Fieldhouse here. And the field turf that they've put in, I think they did a terrific job of installing it. Bob, we were down on the field before the game. It looked great.
And they've got some upstairs here in the press box where they took the green out of the middle of the field for the big E that's out there.
They're going to keep it on the ground with Roskowski. He'll pick up about 5 on the play. Josh Shattuck's going to use that last time out. With 7 seconds left, he wants to make St. Joe punt the ball away and see if his special teams can come up with a big play.
You never know.
Both of these teams 3-1 coming into the action. Elkhart Central won its opener against Elkhart Memorial here on TV 46. Then they crushed Goshen in week 2, went up to Monroe, Michigan, wound up playing a very physical team up there that only threw the ball 2 times all night and beat them. And then they turned around and beat Benton Harbor last week 35-12. Meanwhile, St. Joe won its first 3 out of the gate against some pretty decent competition in Concord, Northridge, and Marion, and then ran into that buzzsaw attack of New Prairie last week. And the Cougars put 44 on the board against St. Joe and beat them 44-28. And tonight against another pretty prolific offense in Elkhart Central, one that's scoring 35 points a game. Well, the Blazers have put 20 up in the first half.
Well, you mentioned that New Prairie loss. They had 2 touchdowns called back. 2 touchdowns make that 42-41 St. Joe.
Here's the snap to Patrick Oliva. He sends this one downfield. Kyron Pearson will let it go, and that's going to do it for the first half of play here at historic Rice Field in Elkhart. The Blue Blazers go to the locker room at halftime, leading by a count of 20-14. And we'll toss it downstairs for a Bills Heating sideline report. Bo Hunt has Josh Shattuck in his sights, and as soon as Shattuck gets done talking to his kicker, he'll talk to Bo. Go ahead, Bo.
Coach, you're able to answer St. Joe's both their scores and then come back with one of your own. Offense was very prolific out there. Defense ended up stepping up as well late in the first half. Just thoughts in the first quarter.
Well, I feel very strongly that we're creating, our defense is making St. Joe throw the ball. And if they're one-dimensional in a passing game, we got to get some things fixed inside. If they were running the ball, we'd have a much bigger problem right now. We've got to play better on defense. We've got to get off the field. 3rd and 11, we had a 1st and 26 that they got a first down on after a hold. We couldn't get off the field there. They threw the screen and all that. So a couple big plays in the game. We've missed 2 field goals. We've got to put ourselves in a position where we're not having to kick field goals when we get down here. We got to go score. And I'd love to have. We should have 2 more touchdowns, but we don't. And we're in a dogfight right now. St. Joe's a good football team.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Josh barely getting out before the band has taken the field, but we've got plenty to cover here at halftime with our TCU student athletes in our Mary's Match Be the Match halftime report. Brian Kelly in the house has to be entertained watching this one as the Blazers lead the Indians 20-14 at the half on the 46 game of the week.
Welcome back to Rice Field. We get a chance to interview our student athletes of the week, brought to you by TCU. TCU reminds you to go online at tcunet.com and find out how you can become a member today. Well, as always, a couple of fine representatives of the respective schools. John Patrick Raster is with us from St. Joseph High School, and with us from Elkhart Central High School is Jared Miller. And Jared, we always talk to the visitors, that's all right?
Yep.
A couple of soccer players, they might be back checking each other, I'm not sure. John, congratulations on your success and being recognized. A very competitive atmosphere at St. Joseph High School, and you stood out. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Talk about what it takes to get everything done. You're involved in 3 sports. You're involved in soccer, basketball, and golf. I love golfers. But you're very busy all year round. Talk about what it takes to get it done in the classroom and on the field.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things is that at St. Joe, they want you to be successful. And so when you're in the classroom or on the field, they're really going to try and help you to get your stuff done and keep you motivated. So,
out of those 3 sports, I know you're very successful at all 3. What's your favorite?
I kind of go as the season goes. Whatever is in season, that's my favorite sport. So I can't really choose between them.
Talk about what's ahead for you collegiately.
So actually, I don't think there's any athletic career ahead of me collegiately. I think I'm just gonna go and just enjoy college and just kind of make the most of my senior year as an athlete.
Are you a big fan of Harvard?
I am a fan of Harvard. That's probably not a school that's on my radar, but I like to watch my sister play. So.
Your sister's playing for the Red of Harvard. She's gonna be coming and playing Notre Dame this year in November. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'll be a great atmosphere. Happy to see her kind of come back home for her senior year, so that'll be fun.
Talk about who matters in your life. Who's helped you be successful?
My parents have been huge to me. My family. I got a big family. Have to give them a shout out. They push me to be my best self. My teammates, my coaches, never let me take a day off. So.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
John Patrick Grasser from St. Joseph High School, outstanding student athlete. He's joined today by Jared Miller, who's also a soccer guy in the fall, but a baseball guy probably most of the year round. And first of all, Jared, congratulations on being singled out and getting this award.
Thank you. It means a lot.
When you're at Elkhart Central, there's a lot of focus on academics as well as athletics. Talk about what your keys are to handling the time management issues.
Oh, it's all about time management. I mean, I remember last year on the soccer bus. I'd have to take homework and do it while I was watching the JV game. Same thing during baseball season. Just got to find all the time that you can to get everything you need done.
Well, you got to find somebody to get something done, find somebody who's too busy because they know how to handle that. Talk about what's ahead for you collegiately. I know you got some feelers out there for where you want to be maybe playing baseball.
Yeah, hopefully I'm going to be able to play baseball. I'm going to a few camps here and there down the road, meet with some coaches, see where it leads me.
I know you're a pretty good pitcher and you like to play the infield as well. A lot of teams can use a guy with not only the ability on the field but the academic ability as well. Talk about the people that helped you be successful.
Oh, it starts off with my parents. They've been great. I can't even begin to explain how much they mean to me. My family, my brothers on the field, and my teammates, they encourage me to be better every day. And my coaches, they never let me take a day off. It's always just get better, do your work, get it done, and we can hopefully have a good season.
Well, that's great, Jared. Congratulations on your success. Best wishes in the future.
Thank you.
Jared Miller from Elkhart Central High School, John Patrick Raster from St. Joseph High School, our Student Athletes of the Week, brought to you by TCU. TCU reminds you to go online at tcunet.com. Find out how you can become a member today. We're back with some halftime stats and highlights in just a moment. You're watching the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week.
This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week brought to you by the electrical workers of Local 153. They're making our community brighter. And the bright lights are on here for the Blue Blazer Brigade, entertaining the crowd here at halftime as the Elkhart Central Marching Band enjoying a 20-14 lead along with their football team over the St. Joe Indians here at the intermission. Chuck and Bob high above the fray. And partner, it's what we expected, a nip and tuck game between these two Northern Indiana Conference powers.
I think we were hoping that both teams' offenses would be effective tonight, and they have been. A number of things that jumped out in the stats. The time of possession dominated by St. Joe, but they had a drive of almost 6 minutes where they got nothing. They had a field goal block. It skewed those numbers a little bit, but both teams have been successful offensively, but Elkhart Central has really done a good job. We talked about before the game check. Tonight is, the hump game. Game 5 out of 9, regular season. You're going to be great or you're going to be good. Elkhart Central looks like they want to be great.
At least they did at times tonight, because let's show you how it got to be this way. St. Joe actually got on the board first. They ran John Driscoll in a nice jet sweep to take the ball down to the 2-yard line. And on the next play, Ashton Roskowski would put his nose behind his offensive line, pump it on in for the score, 7-0 St. Joe. But Mark Brownlee was a man possessed on the next possession. He had 3 runs. The last one would take it down into the end zone for the Blue Blazers. Extra point was missed, and it was 7-6. St. Joe then would get the ball in the second quarter. Look at Roskowski do a little scrambling in the backfield to run it for the first down. Driscoll on a jet sweep, his first touchdown of the night. That made it 14-6, but here's Brownlee working his magic again, and then just when you thought all Central could do was run the ball, they flip it out to the flat to Dominic Davis, and he's even and leaving. 59 yards for the score, 14-13 at this point. Both teams hit missed field goals, and then Central hitting the bomb right before halftime. Spencer Stalker hauls it in from Isaiah Chandler. And the numbers in the first half prolific for both offenses.
And look at the Elkhart Central rushing yardage, 162, 113 of that belongs to Brownlee, but on only 9 carries. When they opened the game up throwing the football, Brownlee didn't carry it. He should be fresh in the second half. St. Joe ran for 125, threw for 172. They were over 300 yards in offense until the sack late in the first half. Total yards 321 for Elkhart Central. That's 600 yards of offense we've seen tonight. 64 yards and penalties hurt the Indians. No turnovers tonight. And again, that time of possession, 17:06, and you're down by 6 at halftime. Brian Kelly once said,
time of possession, very meaningless stat.
There you go.
Tell you what isn't meaningless is winning the state championship, and they've done that a couple of times here in Elkhart. This is the 1968 Elkhart High School state championship football team down on the field. That man there with the baseball cap on, that's Garvin Robertson. He went to the University of Illinois on a football scholarship. And you'll notice something about this team. Blacks and whites together. It wasn't always that way in Elkhart. And then the head coach of this squad, a man by the name of Tom Kurth, right there on the left, he came to town. He would go down into the African-American community and say, why isn't your son playing football? He brought this community together, and he put together this 1968 state championship football team.
Well, that goes back to short of my years in high school, and I tell you what, Elkhart Central was the standard here in Northern Indiana. Did a great job. Had a lot of players who want to play Division I football, and as you said, Tom Kurth, a legend here for a lot of the right reasons. And you know, you talk about football coach. How about what he did with track and field over the years? And
won state titles there too.
Oh my, just a terrific. Good to see him tonight, and wishing his wife all the best. And they continue to battle on, and proud of them.
He says she's feeling better. Had some good tests this week. So Barb, if you're watching, thumbs up to you. 20-14, Elkhart Central leads it. This has been the Mary's Match Be the Batch halftime report. Second half action comes your way from Rice Field after this on 46. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week brought to you by J.B. Macri Orthodontics. Trust your smile to the experts. Plenty for the Blazer fans to smile about so far. They're up 20-14. For a smile to be on the face of the St. Joe head coach Ryan Witten, some things have to change, Bo Hunt. What will they be with the Bills Heating sideline report?
Well, I got a chance to talk to Brian, and he talked about not giving up the big plays. He goes, plain and simple, we can't give up those plays. We can't let them score there in the last minute and a half. That was just unacceptable. He goes, we got to do a better job of holding the edge. He goes, they got to the outside a lot. I talked about that, about Brownlee getting to that corner and really picking up some big yards. And he said, yeah, we definitely need to shut that down. Other than that, we played pretty decent, but we just need to get after it. Also, just wanted to point out, I got a chance to talk to Coach Tom Kurth. You know, guy went back way back. He was bringing back stories of back when I was in high school and coming over and talking to me and, you know, giving me a lot of guidance when I was in high school as well. He's part of the 68 team that won the state championship, and just a great honor to talk to Coach Kurth as well, guys.
He is a great man, and this is a big game here in Elkhart, Bo. We've got drones overhead circling here at Rice Field. I'll tell you what, Coach Stahl, the volleyball coach here at Elkhart Central, has taken some amazing footage with his drone. He was following the progress of this field both during the flood that they had here in February and then also in the off season as they were putting in the turf installation and things like that. He's a great follow for those who are on Twitter and into that thing.
I think they also use that drone as a hair cutting tool for the coaching staff. Josh Shattuck and some of his guys have clean shaven heads, and he said, you know, every once in a while if the sun's still up, I can put my head at a certain angle and blind the opposition. But no, he's not doing that. But well, I'll tell you what, when you get ready to do a high school football game and you do your homework and you're thinking this could happen, that could happen, we've seen it all here in this first half. Here you get a good look at Brian Witten. He's seen more points for Central than he wanted to, but his team still has a lot of weapons and a lot of time to do something about a 6-point deficit. I can't wait to see it. It's our game of the week. We're hoping for a classic every week, and I think we've got one here. And here to bring it home and call the second half, my partner, Chuck Freeby.
Mutual respect from these two teams this week when we talk to them, and especially in the kicking game. Both coaches mentioned the opposing kicker. Patrick Oliva will put the toe to leather here to start the second half, and this one goes into the end zone for the touchback. So Elkhart Central will start 1st and 10 at its own 20. Kyron Pearson was hoping he could get the 101-yard kickoff return, but that's not allowed in Indiana high school football.
Doesn't happen in Indiana high school. Well, just look at those numbers, Chuck. 618 yards of offense in a first half that has a 20-14 score. Usually you'd look up and you think it's 42-0.
Well, and both of these defenses have given up more points in the first half than they're used to giving up for a whole game. So it could be very explosive as we go through the second half. Isaiah Chandler hands it off to Mark Brownlee coming around the left side. Brownlee trying to cut it back. Goes down after a pickup of 6 on the play. Dan Stone in on the hit that time for St. Joe.
119 yards in 10 carries.
Brownlee averaging over 170 yards per contest. Now it's Chandler keeping himself as they fake the jet sweep, and Isaiah Chandler hurdling people going forward to the 34-yard line. Remember, Chandler playing a bit under the weather tonight. He had a fever for the last couple of days of the week, but Josh Shattuck felt that adrenaline would carry his quarterback tonight, and he's been right so far.
56 yards on the night for Chandler on just 4 carries.
and also 2 touchdown passes. He's been dynamic.
Talked to him when you're here this week. You know, you don't have to have an invitation to play well. Just go ahead and do it. He's doing it here tonight.
They fake it, and now Chandler decides to keep it and pays a price as Mark Heastand gets him behind the line of scrimmage. We want to remind our viewers, especially those of you watching on Facebook Live, tonight's stream and each quarter is being brought to us by Marian University in Indianapolis, a great Catholic university in a great American city. It's 2nd and 12. Heastand making the stop that time for St. Joe, a young man who's made his commitment to play at the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. St. Joe coming on a blitz. Chandler in trouble, gets rid of it, and Ricky Roca dropped the football. Oh, was he wide open.
Well, Chandler took a shot back behind the line of scrimmage, but that was a well-thrown ball under that pressure, and I guarantee you Ricky Roca is not the guy you expect to drop a pass like that. But
Chandler was doing his job on that play, and Roca was looking forward to see how far he could go and forgot that he's got to have the pigskin for it to matter.
Maybe if the other quarterback had thrown it, he's caught a couple of those for 6 points this season.
Yeah, Roca has been a standout on the Blazer defense, but this time on offense, the hands let him down. 3rd and 11. St. Joe coming on a blitz again. Brownlee gets around one defender, but can't get around all of them. He's wrestled down by Heastand again at the 35-yard line, and it's a 3 and out after the initial first down for Elkhart Central.
122 yards carrying now for Brownlee, but couldn't get much leverage on that one.
So Noah Hickey goes back deep for St. Joe, awaiting the kick from Brian Mullins, who averages 39 yards a boot. And once again, Roca, forgetting to go out for the punt team, comes back out on time. 10 on the play clock. Mullins has everybody set. Low snap, he bobbled it, but got it out of there over the outstretched arms of Heastand. St. Joe with the ball at the 35-yard line. Luke Leonard takes a shot from behind and goes down as Vinny Ambrose sent him to the turf.
38 yards on the kick, which is pretty good considering the snap, and then about a 9-yard return.
Watch the play by Mullins here, who was able to collect it and just get it away from Heastand. And then watch the lick that Ambrose puts on Luke Leonard right about there. Well, it wasn't even Leonard. It was Patrick Driscoll that time. My apologies.
And lucky to hang on to the football. That was a pretty good shot. Clean shot, but he didn't see him.
So 1st and 10 from its own 39 for a St. Joe team trailing by 6. Ashton Roskowski with 5 wide again. Josh Shattuck was concerned about the St. Joe running game. Well, they do run it here with Driscoll on the jet sweep, and this time it's better defended by St. Joe. Only a pickup of 2 on the play as Jason Zalea comes over and makes the tackle from his linebacker position.
Our thanks to the wonderful folks who fed our crew tonight. Boy, I tell you what, you show up for a game and your crew is asleep, leaning on the wheels of the truck and all that. Little Caesars did a nice job. We want to thank them. Life is busy, and Little Caesars Pizza understands. Their fast service and great low prices will have you taken care of and out the door in no time. Little Caesars hot and ready items are ready to go when you are. One-topping pizzas, wings, and breadsticks are just minutes away from their oven to your table with 5 locations in Elkhart. Remember to stop by their newest location, now open on US 33. Little Caesars, Chuck?
Pizza, pizza.
Thank you. How did you read that from way over there?
Another holding penalty on St. Joe. They now have well over 70 yards of penalties on the night. And this will set them up with a 1st and 18. Back at their own 31. Roskowski gives it to John Driscoll. Driscoll runs over one tackler, runs over another one. Wow, what a run by Driscoll. He takes it up to the 47-yard line, a pickup of 16 on the play.
That'll put him over 100 yards tonight.
Both Jason Zalea and Vinny Ambrose paid the price for meeting Mr. Driscoll on that run.
103 yards on the night now for Driscoll. 172 yards passing. The teams are playing really good football. It's fun.
So 2nd and 2 from the 47. Central showing blitz. They don't come. Driscoll takes the handoff, and he stops short of the first down. Well, he got a very friendly spot from the linesman on the other side, and this will be close. Sean Holman was in on the stop. You see big number 50 right there. We talked about him earlier on both offense and defense. Holman, one of the two-way players for this Elkhart Central squad. And the timeout called by the officials. They want to bring the chains out for a measurement.
The teams in this game, folks, working toward a great finish, and so is a team from Imagineering Finishing Technologies. Partners with industries including aerospace, automotive, military and defense, medical, and precision machining. At IFT, quality is a way of life.
So a couple of lengths short of the first down, and it will be 3rd down for St. Joe. Don't be surprised if they just ask Ruskowski to go right behind his center here, but we'll see what Brian Witten decides to do right here. Mitchell Spear, a former St. Joe player, an SQ Award winner, talking to Witten down there on the sidelines. Ruskowski running from the shotgun here. They'll give it to Driscoll, left side, big hole, he's gone. Forget about it. John Driscoll, touchdown, St. Joe.
Wow, goal line defense. You pop it, nobody back.
It's like saran wrap, and you stick the toothpick right through it, and it goes right on through.
Wow, what a call.
So John Driscoll's 2nd touchdown of the night. This one a 52-yard romp. Puts St. Joe in a 20-20 tie with Elkhart Central, pending the extra point off the foot of Patrick Oliva.
Man, fireworks. Good luck finding the play of the game, buddy.
Well, that's the one for now.
Yeah.
Because it may give St. Joe the lead, but we've got, guess what, more flags and a illegal substitution, this one on Elkhart Central. They could move it half the distance if they wanted to, but 2 points really doesn't do you much good here. We'll see, though. It looks like St. Joe's going to send its offense onto the field here to go for 2. Interesting decision here.
Especially this early in the ball game.
But they do have the ball down at the 1.5-yard line, and their offensive line has been moving people off the ball.
Well, we got a tie ball game right now. Let's see what happens here. There have been a couple of big defensive stops, a couple of missed field goals and a blocked field goal. So
Ruskowski with a 2-back backfield here. And it's Ruskowski handing it off, and going in for the 2-point conversion is John Driscoll, who's doing a little bit of everything for St. Joe tonight. Well, the guys that have had illness during the week are making the opponent sick tonight. Driscoll had a flu bug. Chandler had a fever. But Driscoll's got defensive coordinators wanting to puke right there. It's 22-20 St. Joe on 46. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week is being brought to you by Imagineering Finishing Technologies. IFT, where quality is a way of life. Chuck Freeby, Bob Nagel, Bo Hunt back with you at beautiful Rice Field in Elkhart. St. Joe taking a 22-20 lead on Elkhart Central in this seesaw battle. You're on TV 46.
53 seconds on that scoring drive, 61 yards in 4 plays, picked up a couple of first downs. Chuck, they overcame the 10-yard penalty, so they're handling the walk-offs.
Kyron Pearson will take the kickoff back at his 1-yard line. Pearson tried to hit the seam, but a wall of St. Joe tacklers will rugby-style tackle him at the 27-yard line. So let's see if the Blazers have an answer this time around. Every time St. Joe has had a touchdown tonight, Elkhart Central has come back right away with a quick strike.
Done it through the air. They've done it on the ground. You wonder about Mark Brownlee. He's got 122 yards, and now after that 52-yard run, Driscoll has 157. Are they watching each other's numbers? Let's see if Brownlee doesn't take over here for a while.
Brownlee, the lone back in the backfield with quarterback Isaiah Chandler, as you look into the eyes of the junior speedster for Elkhart Central. Brownlee will try to come around the right side, cuts it back against the grain, and then pays the price at the 33-yard line as Casey Connery hit him hard.
Boy, makes great use of the leverage. Then he gets a little outside leverage, then he cuts back, and he knows he's going to get contact, but he's a big, strong back. Look, he pushes his guard out in front of him, cuts back. He takes a pop, and he's got him by the ankle, but
Dan Stone got him from the front, and Connery got him from behind that time. But a nice 6-yard pickup, and it's 2nd and 4. We are seeing two of the premier running backs in Northern Indiana tonight. And it's Chandler keeps it himself on the option, broke one tackle, but did not get the first down. He stopped short of the 36-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 1.5 for Central.
Talk about two of the premier runners in this game. Like to see those numbers going on at New Prairie and Mishawaka.
Well, Chris Harness, the top ball carrier in the area. He is 6th in the state this year in rushing yards. And movement along the defensive line for St. Joe, and another Indian penalty will cost them here. Offsides makes it a first down for Elkhart Central at the 40-yard line.
That is penalty number 9.
16 last week. The Indians now with 48 penalties in 4.5 games this year.
79 negative yards for the Indians tonight, just 5 for Elkhart Central.
The old comic strip Pogo had the character once say, "We have met the enemy and it is us."
Looks a lot like us, yeah.
Chandler from the gun. Looks right, now throwing. He wants Stalker again. Great catch. No, he dropped it at the 30.
What a well-thrown ball. Good defense by St. Joe. That's good football, isn't it?
Trevor Giacchi was back there to help break it up for St. Joe. Ball was underthrown a little bit. Stalker tried to come back for it, and it hit him right in the hands. He just couldn't hang on.
A lot of good things there. That's good football.
Well, that play worked once before for them earlier for 6 points.
5 of 11 now for Chandler on the night.
2nd and 10. They'll give it to Brownlee after faking the jet sweep, and flags come in here, and you wonder if this might be a holding call on Elkhart Central. You think there's been some lobbying over on the St. Joe sidelines with as many holding calls have been called against the Indians, and there's the holding call against Central.
Just the 2nd penalty of the night for Elkhart Central. 15 yards for the Blue Blazers. Again, I got to throw this out there. If you're just joining us, Elkhart hasn't abandoned the blue blazer uniform. They're wearing a salute to the Indiana National Guard tonight, the military green with the gold and blue letters. So it's a little different look for the Blue Blazers, but the way they're playing tonight, Chuck, they might keep these uniforms.
2nd and 15. Not if the Blazer alumni have their way, I guarantee you that.
Mr. B doesn't look good in green.
Chandler throws a screen. It's too short. They wanted to get Ricky Roca and couldn't quite hit him that time. So it's 3rd and 15.
I like the play call. St. Joe reacted to it really well. It was almost a good incompletion. I'm not sure they would have got a lot out of it, but again, you make a good play call. I like the idea of the screen pass, but then St. Joe reacts. We're seeing good football here, partner.
Well, you wonder if they might come back to something like a shovel pass right here. And a timeout called by St. Joe, actually, with 6:20 to go, 3rd quarter, and the Indians up by 2.
Well, field position, very important here. If St. Joe can get a stop, they should get the ball in good field position. Folks, want to tell you about Thor Industries. Thor Industries loves this time of year because team pride is on full display. That team culture from Friday night sidelines extends to our Thor Industries team. Build your future right here in Elkhart with one of Thor's excellent career opportunities. Get started today at ThorIndustries.com.
You take a look at the Elkhart Central huddle over on the other side. This is the start of a murderous stretch for the St. Joe Indians. They go to Penn next week and then go on the road to Mishawaka the week after that. You come home, you play Culver Academy. By the way, they're ranked.
Yeah.
And then South Bend Adams, who's given Penn fits tonight, comes in for the season finale at Father Bly Field.
Yeah, meanwhile, Central kind of has well, it's not a off day next week. They play Mishawaka. Then they've got Adams, they've got Penn, and finish with New Prairie.
Yeah,
so both these teams, a lot of work to do.
The NIC North is just nothing but walking through a minefield. 3rd and 15 for Central. Chandler with time. Fires a bullet too high for Kyron Pearson.
Kyron was 6'8", he pulls that down. He's not.
He's 5'11" and had no shot. So a punting situation for the Blue Blazers, who find themselves down by 2 midway through the 3rd. And we'll see if Brian Mullins can switch the field right here with Noah Hickey waiting back at his own 30-yard line.
4 straight incompletions now for Chandler after a pretty good start where he was 5 out of 9 for 159 yards.
St. Joe came close to getting a block last time on Mullins. This time the snap is high, but he gets it out of there. And the ball will take a sideways roll and die at the St. Joe 37-yard line. You get the feeling if St. Joe had come on the proper angle that time, they would have been able to get the block. But the outside man actually went behind Mullins.
Well, you got to avoid the penalty, obviously. You don't want to rough him, but Mullins did a nice job. They net 32 yards on the exchange, and so St. Joe got what they wanted. They got a stop, and they got the ball in pretty good field position out to 36.
So now the Indians playing with a 2-point lead, and let's see if Ashton Roskowski and company can pad it. What kind of numbers for Roskowski tonight?
Roskowski now 10 out of 18, 172 yards. Chuck, we haven't had a turnover in the game, and I'm not saying that because I don't want to jinx either team, but it's just good football.
Roskowski going to run it here off the left side. Nice hesitation move, and he gets forward to the 43, almost the 44-yard line before the defensive end, Rodney McGraw, brings him down. But that's a nice first down pickup for St. Joe. It'll set up a 2nd and 3.
44 yards rushing tonight for Roskowski, 57 on the night for Chandler.
It is a late night, or should I say an early morning over in Spain, but we have viewers in Spain for our Facebook Live feed, which is being sponsored by our friends at Marian University.
Hola.
2nd and 3. Handoff Driscoll. He gets wrapped up as he hits the line of scrimmage. Good pursuit that time by the Blazers, is making the hit for Elkhart Central. Jordan Harris, and he comes through with a nice hit right here, wrapping up Driscoll short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and a long 1.
159 yards rushing now for Driscoll.
St. Joe taking its time here, trying to milk the clock a little bit. Both coaches thought tempo would be important tonight, and time of possession has been heavily in favor of St. Joe. Roskowski keeps it himself off the left side, big hole. Ashton Roskowski tripped up at the 40, but he's got a first down in Blazer territory. And again, the St. Joe offensive line, this time it was the sophomore Michael Connery leading the charge from the pulling guard slot, and Austin Lee had a nice block as well.
17 yards on the carry. 61 yards rushing now for Roskowski to go with 172 passing. Taking care of his business. Another first down.
They'll spot it at the 39, and again, St. Joe able to move the chains. Handoff, Driscoll. They've got him as a marked man right now. Drew Stymack leads the charge from the middle linebacker position along with Harris.
161 yards now for Driscoll. We haven't seen him run that play they ran against Marion, Chuck, where Driscoll fumbles and his brother recovers.
He did fumble it forward for about 5 yards late in the first half. So he did his part. Patrick wasn't there to pick up the loose change that time.
St. Joe offense has been on the field an awful lot tonight. They had that one drive in the first half. 5 minutes and 54 seconds. Came up with nothing to show for it as they had their field goal attempt blocked.
Roskowski fires in the flat. Connor Radigan has it, and he's got a first down up to the 27-yard line. Nice little pitch and catch that time between Roskowski and Radigan. They've had, what, 5 connections tonight, I believe.
11 yards on that completion and another first down.
Radigan wants to be a pediatric oncologist. His father, a noted orthopedic surgeon in South Bend, and was a fine defensive lineman for some pretty good Notre Dame football teams, you know, back in the day when Brian was young.
I was old by then. Holy cow.
1st and 10, Roskowski, left side, turns it up the field nicely and delivers a pretty good blow as he gets to the 20-yard line. You don't see a quarterback like Ashton Roskowski often willing to lower the shoulder into a defender, but that's exactly what he does here. You'll get another look from Bethel College admissions. He got right up under the chin of a Blazer defensive back.
You know, Chuck, it almost looks like St. Joe has found a spot in the Elkhart Central defense where there's nobody marking Roskowski when he runs. If he gets through a tackle, it's like usually there's somebody there, a linebacker, safety, somebody watching you, but he's been able to find a lot of running room.
Now it's Driscoll on the carry, and Driscoll picks up about 3 yards. Sean Holman in on the stop that time for Central. We'll see if Driscoll was able to get enough yardage for the first down that time as the officials stop the clock. And there's an injured St. Joe player down on the field, and it's Driscoll.
Well, he went out of the game early on, but came back, and we'll have to wait and see if John Driscoll can get back in the ball game. He's got 161 yards rushing tonight.
2:21 to go in the third. St. Joe by 2 on 46. John Driscoll limping off the field under his own power, though. Remember, Driscoll was suffering from the flu earlier this week, so it could very well be a hydration issue and cramps. He has run the ball a lot for a young man that was under the weather this week, and the way he's sitting down on the track would lead you to believe that that leg is just cramping up a little bit.
The good news is when we got at the sidelines, he turned toward the trainer and not the priest.
This is so. Look at the measurement right there. It is like your breakfast plate, 1 link short.
Well, St. Joe in 4 down territory here, do they?
Well, it's 3rd in inches, so would not be surprising if they just tucked under center with Roskowski, although he's been operating from the gun a lot tonight. And they have nobody in the backfield with him here. On 3rd and inches. Now they'll put Hickey in motion. Roskowski on the fake gets the first down up to the 13-yard line. That jet sweep motion has been very effective for St. Joe tonight.
Boy, Roskowski is a big, strong young man.
6 feet, 190 pounds. He attended the Irish invasion a couple of years ago. He's getting some looks from schools like Butler and Valparaiso. Had 1,242 passing yards in 2017, but we're seeing him use his legs a lot tonight.
71 yards for Roskowski, 161 for Driscoll.
John Underly in the game. He had 1 carry earlier in the contest. But it's Roskowski stepping up in the pocket here, and down he goes, sacked behind the line of scrimmage as Brownlee came in from the linebacker position to put him down for a loss of 1.
3rd sack of the night. This one only for 1 yard, but a sack nonetheless.
Brownlee has been a little quieter on defense tonight than when we saw him against Elkhart Memorial. Of course, I'm sure he was amped up for that game, playing against his former teammates.
Well, he's had a great night tonight. 128 yards rushing on just 11 carries.
They gave Roskowski the line of scrimmage, so it's 2nd and 10. Roskowski, big hole left side. Look at him scamper. And Roskowski knocked off his pins at about the 7-yard line as he went crashing into the chains over there. He appears to be okay. You get another copy of it courtesy of Bethel College Admissions, as Demarion Williams put that shoulder right into him and knocked him down.
Taking a little bit of time to get up. He went far enough where he didn't land on the turf. He landed on the track.
So they spotted at the 6. Well, at least it's not a cinder track anymore. 3rd down and 1. John Driscoll still over on the sidelines. Roskowski behind lead blockers, left side, touchdown. No, he fumbled. He fumbled in the end zone, and it's a touchdown for St. Joe. Apparently, he fumbled after he crossed the goal line. Ball popped loose. And you'll get another look courtesy of Bethel College Admissions right here at the goal line. And yes, Roskowski broke the plane by just a hair before the ball was knocked away by Laz Miller.
And Central had recovered it.
Oh, terrific camera work by Matt Kowalski down on the goal line to give you that look. Now here's Patrick Oliva to try the extra point to make this a 2-score game. The snap is good, the kick is up, and it is pure with 46 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. St. Joe with its biggest lead of the night at 29-20, and you'll get one more look at the touchdown run by Ashton Roskowski, his 2nd of the night.
And that gives him 82 yards rushing, but what a terrific drive by St. Joe's. They went 64 yards. Their first score of the night went 64 yards.
Hickey, Lee, and Heistand, excuse me, all throwing key blocks that time for the Roskowski touchdown run. And he got just enough of the ball over the goal line to make it a TD.
11-play drive. And the Indians with the 9-point lead. Folks, building faith, character, and excellence since 1953. St. Joseph High School prepares students for college and careers with programs like Project Lead the Way, where students solve real-world problems through hands-on learning in engineering and biomedical science. Discover more at stjoehigh.com.
So St. Joe will kick it away with Patrick Oliva doing the honors. Kyron Pearson, a very dangerous return man, is deep at his own 2. And Oliva's kick goes into the end zone for the touchback. And so once again, Central will have to start at its own 20-yard line. Oliva, very potent weapon for St. Joe on the kickoffs.
How much time left in the quarter, Chuck?
Exactly 46 seconds.
Well, thank you very much. How many times did that happen tonight?
A couple of.
Absolutely. Small charge for us to have 46 on the scoreboard as well.
Take a look at that St. Joe defense. They have been able to pitch a shutout here in the 3rd quarter. Josh Shattuck calling the play from the Blazer sidelines. Isaiah Chandler from the shotgun. Sends Davis in motion, and it's Dominic Davis on the jet sweep. Gets a couple of blocks from Brownlee, and Connor Radigan makes the tackle 11 yards downfield. That's an Elkhart Central 1st down.
It's a good weapon to have, and it reminds you a little bit of Rocket Ishmael back in his Notre Dame days. So quick that when he gets a little bit of leverage, you have to take a whole different angle. You're not trying to stop him for 2 or 3. You got to make sure he doesn't get away.
Well, that's the thing about this Elkhart Central team with guys like Pearson and Davis and Brownlee. They've got plenty of speed if you can get them into enough space. And wow, a hit by Kenzel Kelly in the backfield. Hello. Kelly absolutely burying the Blazer ball carrier in the backfield. You'll get another look courtesy of Bethel College Admissions. And Ricky Roca, oh, the head snapping back on that one. That's as punishing a hit as you'll see.
Yeah, Ricky Roca's had kind of a tough night tonight, getting to the sidelines.
That didn't make it any better, I can guarantee you that. Roca being looked at by the trainer down at the 25-yard line. Bo Hunt with a Bills Heating sideline report. You were right down there. That was a terrific hit. There's a fumble in the backfield now, and things falling apart for the Blazers back in their own territory. But Bo, what was that hit like from your level?
Yeah, definitely. I kind of saw it right before. It looked like it was almost in slow motion down here on the sidelines. I could see it coming. What a hit. It's one of those where Ricky Roca was coming across. He's just getting the ball, so he's concentrating on that. Doesn't see Kinsey Kelly coming across the line, full speed, unblocked. And that was one of those plays that you dream about when you're a kid, just having that open attack ability to hit somebody when they're not looking. Great play by Kinsey Kelly.
A big third quarter for the St. Joe Indians, and a third quarter that had all kinds of hard hitting. Vinny Ambrose got his shots in, so did Casey Connery. But Ashton Ruskowski and the Indians will take a 9-point lead to the fourth on 46. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week brought to you in part by Bills Heating, keeping families and businesses comfortable since 1951. Bo Hunt very comfortable down on the sidelines with that Elkhart Central drum corps right in his ear, more than likely. We join you for another Bills Heating sideline report. And Bo, aside from the big hits, what made the difference in that third quarter for St. Joe?
We talked about it. It was the playmakers, Driscoll and Ashton Ruskowski. What a great third quarter they both had. For Central, they just needed to catch a couple balls down the sidelines, one across the middle of the field. I mean, if they catch a couple balls, they might even have the lead in this going here in the fourth quarter. But St. Joe, great job by Driscoll. We'll see if he gets back in the game here after this series. And Ruskowski, great job of leading them in the third quarter. Guys?
And like sharks smelling blood, right now the St. Joe defense is getting to Elkhart Central. Another sack right there as Mark Heaston led the way, and now Brian Mullins is going to have to punt from the shadow of his goalpost. Noah Hickey is standing in Elkhart Central territory waiting for this punt.
Boy, St. Joe's defense really has stepped up big here.
And now, nearly blocking the punt, there was no contact made with Mullins. Hickey touches the ball and then falls on it at the 41-yard line, and we've got a flag coming in behind the play.
What a huge kick. He had several St. Joe Indian jerseys in his face. Had to kick away.
So we'll see what the penalty is about back at the return area. There was no penalty thrown for any kind of roughing the kicker back by the punter.
Man, that is a 13, about a 45-yard kick.
The only thing I can think of on this punt is that it could be catch interference, but the flag is waved off. And so there will be no penalty, and St. Joe will have the ball at the 41-yard line, and you'll get another copy of this one courtesy of Bethel College Admissions. Watch Mullins, and St. Joe had been getting close to the punts all night, and they went right under Mullins, and that's why there was no roughing the kicker. There wasn't contact made with Mullins.
And almost the first turnover of the ball game, which would have put Elkhart Central in really good field position. As it is, they pick up a bunch. St. Joe was trying to receive that kick in Elkhart Central territory and wound up going back to the 40.
Reminder, our fourth quarter tonight is brought to us by our friends at Marian University in Indianapolis, a great Catholic university in a great American city. They also are sponsoring our live stream on Facebook. St. Joe with the ball on 1st and 10. John Driscoll back in the game, wrapped up after about a 1 or 2 yard pickup that time. As Elkhart Central getting nice linebacker play tonight from Jason Zalea.
I think Mr. Driscoll's going to have a couple of water bottles in his possession on the bus ride home.
Hydration station will be set up right next to Mr. Driscoll, I'm sure. He has certainly earned it tonight. 2 yard pickup on the play. It's 2nd and 8.
Gives him 163.
Now, Ruskowski has trips to the right, but he's got single coverage with Connor Radigan down at the bottom of your screen. Let's see what happens here. That's where Ruskowski's looking, and there's Radigan. Can't come up with the catch. That's when Brian Radigan says he's Morris' son.
Yeah, that's my wife's son. 11 out of 20 on the night now for Driscoll. Had a couple of drops.
So it's 3rd and 8 for St. Joe. Ruskowski has been on the money with his throws tonight. And he's had time to throw thanks to a strong offensive line. Now they'll reset the play clock.
Chuck Henry, our referee, came in and said that's not where the ball needs to be set. So they get it reset now at the 43-yard line.
Split backfield for the Tribe. Ruskowski wants to throw. He's going to load up and fire this one over the head of his intended receiver, as he was looking for Patrick Oliva, and now you'll see Patrick Oliva line up in punt formation. So that's a big 3 and out for Elkhart Central's defense. They've been on the field a lot tonight.
They punted from their own 13, so let's see where they wind up with the ball on the exchange. They should gain probably at least 10 or 15 yards.
And with a guy like Kyron Pearson back deep, the St. Joe special teams have to be very wary of him. Elkhart Central going to put 10 on the line of scrimmage. Here's the snap, and Oliva gets off a nice kick. Pearson will let it roll and take it at his 17. Here's Kyron Pearson, tripped up on a nice open field tackle by St. Joe's Luke Leonard.
Big tackle.
At the 31-yard line. If Leonard doesn't get him around the ankles right there, Pearson might have been off to the races.
It's an 18-yard pickup on the exchange with the nice return.
Good sure tackle that time by Leonard, who has played well at linebacker this year. He's a lacrosse player as well at St. Joe. First and 10, Isaiah Chandler hands it off. Mark Brownlee has been bottled up well here in the second half. He goes out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. Pickup of 6 on the play.
He's at 134 now for the ball game. Chuck, you know, we mentioned about how fresh he should be in the second half, but again, he's been playing a lot of downs on defense.
Well, St. Joe with a lot of players going both ways as well. And I'm watching Connor Radigan right now. He looks a little hobbled out there, as though he might be starting to cramp up. It's been a warm September night, and we'll see how much this takes a toll on these two teams. 9:54 to go. Chandler fakes to Brownlee, throws to Ricky Roca, lost the football. St. Joe's got it. It was stripped by Jagaki, and then Casey Connery pounces on the loose change. But a terrific defensive play by Trevor Jagaki, who came over and took the ball right away from Roca. You'll get another look courtesy of Bethel College admissions.
And our first turnover of the ball game, Roca, always so reliable as a player. He's had a tough night tonight.
But he tried to bring the ball back to avoid a tackler, and in so doing, left it open for Jagaki to poke away from him.
St. Joe has done something really well tonight. That's possessed the football. If they can run maybe half of this 9:48 off of there, they could decide the ball game.
They have it in plus territory, and they'll give it to their big back, John Driscoll. And Driscoll plows forward to the 37-yard line, 6 yards on the pickup. Driscoll has to be approaching the 200-yard mark tonight.
169.
His season high 218 in the season opening win against Concord, but it's Driscoll down on the field again with a cramp.
Chuck, that's the first turnover of the ball game and the first time either team has gotten the ball in the other team's territory to start a drive.
So 9:32 to go in this one, and St. Joe up by 9 on Elkhart Central. We're back after this on 46. So there you see John Driscoll limping off the field again, and you just wonder if there might be a time where they have to say, hey, we appreciate your desire, but we have to take you out of this one for a while, because After the cramping earlier, he sat out for about 4 or 5 plays, and he's cramping up again here on the 2nd and 4 with 9:32 to go.
One of the things about having a cramp, you need to just oxygenate your blood. That's the lack of oxygen in the blood that causes a cramp. So you can take deep breaths, but usually the problem is when you get a cramp, you're out there going, you're not taking in much air. As this medical moment's been brought to you by, that's what I always understood.
Rodney McGraw with the tackle there on John Underly, who comes into the game to take the place of Driscoll. And St. Joe looking at a 3rd and 2 right now.
Underly with 5 yards on his 2 carries. Indians looking for a hero now. You know Ruskowski can run the ball. And Chuck, I've got to think they're in 4-down territory, in that if they don't pick up the 1st down, they might go for it again on 4th down. They're probably just a little bit out of range.
Ruskowski has had big 3rd down conversions tonight. He did not get this one, not quite. He's about a half-yard short. And so as Bob prophesized, it'll be a 4th and short here for St. Joe. And more than likely a situation where the Indians will go for it from the Elkhart Central 34-yard line. They've got a 9-point cushion, and to a certain extent, you're playing with house money here.
And they got the ball with just over 9 minutes to go, so they've run a minute off the clock. Boy, another 1st down, you start getting it down to 7 and 6, and you're up by 2 scores. Big down here for that man, Brian Witten.
Play clock down to 3-2, and St. Joe, somebody saw it on the sidelines, and the Indians will take a timeout here with 7:57 to go. While we've got a moment, let's go downstairs for another Bills Heating sideline report. Bo Hunt, it was 83 degrees at kickoff. We've seen John Driscoll cramping a lot tonight. We've got a lot of players going both ways. How much is the field turf holding in the heat as well tonight?
It's definitely holding in the heat. I feel like it's still as hot tonight than it's been all year on a Friday night. It started out pretty humid down here on the field, not much breeze at all here at Rice Field, so the heat is definitely a factor. You know, Driscoll was under the weather, as I think Bob mentioned, and that really takes a lot of fluids out of your body. Your body just uses up so much more fluids. You get dehydrated a lot more easier, and Driscoll's cramping is now in the left leg. It was in the right leg earlier, and now in the left leg, so I'm not sure if he's going to come back in. I'm sure he's going to want to come back in as soon as he starts feeling better, but we'll see here on 4th down.
Hey, Bo, I got to ask you a question. You played both ways in high school. Yep. Were there times where you tried to maybe rest a player or two on defense? Or I know you got to go all out all the time, but
it's one of those things where you just got to get in that shape, and if you're under the weather, you're under the weather. There's nothing you can really do about it in those situations. As false start for St. Joe. Going to move them back 5 yards. But, you know, get back to your point is, you know, playing both ways, never really coming off the field. You got a lot of guys that do that nowadays, even at the 4 or 5A levels. You really got to get in that shape, and you can get in that shape. But if you ever get under the weather, it's just going to be one of those things that your body's just not going to react to the same as it normally does, guys.
Well, the other thing, Bo, is there's no breeze tonight whatsoever.
No.
The flag is completely limp right now. We're spitting distance from the Elkhart River. It's got to be tremendously humid down there as well.
Yeah, you're correct, Chuck. I'm still just kind of standing here sweating as I'm standing here, guys.
Well, we're sweating up here too, Bo.
Yeah.
The punt taken by Elkhart Central back at the 11, and good special teams coverage against Kyron Pearson that time. A bevy of St. Joe jerseys down there. Walter Wesson and Gaffin Stefanik making the hit. And it'll be 1st and 10 for Central. They've got to go 89 yards here, and they need 2 scores to get back in this one, trailing by 9 with 7:46 to go.
Not the longest punt of the night by any measure, but exactly what they needed. Pin them back there deep in their own territory.
That's one where the punter is very willing to sacrifice average. He just wants that number for inside the 20-yard line on those punts. 1st and 10 from its own 11. Mark Brownlee looking for a hole, and there just isn't one there. Good read by St. Joe. Dan Stone, he did exactly what Bo talked about earlier with the pulling guard. He was able to fight off the pulling guard that time and make the play, and that's been really the big difference in the way St. Joe has defended the sweep.
136 yards tonight for Brownlee, which is a very good night, but again, he's been he had 7 yards. We had 115 yards in the first half, so.
Just a 2-yard pickup there, 2nd and 8. And now time becoming an enemy of the Blue Blazers as well. Central trying to signal this play in from the sidelines. They'll give it to Brownlee. Casey Connery is right there to greet him. No gain on the play. Connery has had a big second half for the St. Joe defense.
St. Joe has a pretty good idea what they want to do, and they've had success, Chuck, going to that jet sweep. They've had success throwing the ball deep. Let's see if they come up here on 3rd down and 8.
Chandler has not had as much success, though, throwing the football in the second half. St. Joe has been able to get pressure on him, and they're coming with a blitz again. He throws out in the flat, and it's complete, but short of the first down at the 20-yard line. Kyron Pearson made the catch that time, but he was not able to acquire the first down. And let's see if Josh Shattuck rolls the dice right here and goes for it deep in his own territory. He will. 4th and 2, midway through the 4th quarter. It's Brownlee on the handoff. Big hole. He's got the first down up to the 27-yard line. Joey Gillis makes the stop for St. Joe, but not until the Blazers move the chains on a big 4th and 2 deep in their own territory.
7 yards on that carry. Boy, I tell you, it's a big play and a big gamble, but, you know, Josh Shattuck didn't come here to get a moral victory. He wants a win.
Brownlee again on the sweep. And he goes down on the turf at about the 26-yard line. Gaffin Stefanik in pursuit that time. Loss of 1 on the play.
142 now on the night for Brownlee. And Chuck, I believe, you know, when you think about those big plays that Memorial or Central scored on early in this ball game or in the first half.
Chandler going deep for Pearson, overthrew him.
That's one of them.
Never a bad idea when you've got the kind of speed that the Blazers have at the wideout position, but Pearson not able to run that one down. So it's 3rd and 11 here for Central. They just got a big 4th down conversion in their own territory. And we'll see what Josh Shattuck dials up right here. He's got 2 receivers to each side. Brownlee flanks Chandler. Chandler fires, and Pearson makes the catch at the 35. Did not get the first down. It's 4th and 2. Good tackle there by Trevor Jihaki.
We're under 5 minutes.
St. Joe trying to get personnel on and off the field. They do. St. Joe coming on a blitz. Brownlee runs the other way, and he's got room to run down the sidelines. Mark Brownlee, stiff arm, stop, go, and out of bounds. Touchdown, Central. What a run. What a run by Brownlee. 65 yards, and the Blazers are back within 3.
That might be one of the greatest runs I've ever seen. Talk about the intestinal fortitude of a young man right there.
I'll stop, I'll get 2 in front of me, and I'll just somehow will my way into the end zone.
Chuck, that would be 212 yards rushing now on the night for Mark Brownlee.
Mullins for an important extra point. It would put the Blazers within 2. It's up and good. 4:48. Were you thinking of checking in for the night? Were you thinking of going to bed? Not when there's runs like this to watch on 46. Take another look from Bethel College admissions. Yes, he had some blocking, but from this point on, this is all Mark Brownlee. Stiff arm right there. He comes back, he takes that defender with him and takes him right on into the end zone.
Just the way he changed speeds there. Remind you of an O.J. Simpson, remind you of
Gale Sayers.
The running back that ran for the Rams out of SMU.
Eric Dickerson.
That's a talented young man, and that's taught to some degree, but that's also a gift. Wow.
And he's only a junior.
Imagineering Finishing Technologies is an Indiana company that impacts industries worldwide. Over half a century of quality and excellence has made us the industry knowledge source. We support the efforts of the young people in this game. We're working toward the same goal, and that is a great finish.
Well, you said 212 yards for Brownlee. That puts him at 900 for the season. And we've only hit the midway point.
Man.
And guess what? This is a 2-point football game with 4:48 to go. Remember, Elkhart Central had 2 fourth-down conversions in their own territory on that drive.
Yeah, we were up against it. Coach didn't have any choice. I mean, that's a decision he made before the game started. If we're down by 2 scores, we're going for it. And he got it.
So Brian Mullins with an important kickoff here, and St. Joe playing as though they expect Elkhart Central to do an onside kick here. Blazers have all 3 of their timeouts. There's no need to do an onside kick. And Mullins will send Asante Anglin back to his 2-yard line, and there's nobody to block for him, and he's down at the 15.
Well, we don't know what Driscoll has left in him. We know that Roskowski's giving him everything he has.
Well, obviously, St. Joe would like a drive that takes 4:43 off the clock here, and that's the goal for Ashton Roskowski. But Elkhart Central's defense got a 3-and-out the last time St. Joe had the ball, so we'll see if Roskowski can make something happen here. The senior quarterback takes the field with a 2-point lead in the 4th quarter. Boy, it's another week of everything you could possibly want in a football game here on 46.
Looking for a hero are the Indians.
Roskowski takes it himself, goes right over the top of defender Vinny Ambrose and goes down at the 21-yard line. He picked up 6 on the play.
Got 89 yards rushing. Chuck, in the last 2 weeks, St. Joe has been involved in 2 games with New Prairie and Elkhart Central. And between the 2 games, the score is 62-57. Holy cow.
It has been a fun time to follow high school football here in northern Indiana. We had a great game last week in Middlebury. We've got a great game tonight in Elkhart. It is 2nd and 4. Make it 2nd and 5. 4 minutes to go. Roskowski again keeping it himself, and he's brought down by Zelaya after a pickup of about 3. It'll be 3rd and 2. Can that St. Joe offensive line, Joey Gillis, Michael Connery, Will Faulkner, Casey Connery, and Mark Heastand, make one more set of holes for Roskowski and get him a big first down?
And the same question on the other side. Can the Elkhart Central defensive line, linebackers, come up with a big play here?
Scoreboard says 3rd and 3. It's actually closer to 3rd and 1. Roskowski keeps it, and I don't know if he made it or not. Line judge comes in short of the 25-yard line. Does Josh Shattuck want to use a timeout here? He will. Timeout Elkhart Central with 3:11 to go.
Yeah, they moved the ball back. It's about, maybe a quarter of a yard, maybe 6 inches from that 30-yard line.
Yeah, he slipped. There's no question in my mind he did not get to the first down marker, and you'll get another look here from Bethel College admissions. And watch right there, he never got to the 25-yard line. That was a legitimate spot made by the line judge.
Well, we saw Elkhart Central had to go for it because they're down by 2 scores. St. Joe doesn't have to go for it. And if you're going to punt the football, Elkhart Central could get the ball with about 3 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, and Chuck, they don't need a touchdown.
Well, you've got a lot of options here for if you're St. Joe. You could take the gamble and go for it and show confidence in your offensive line. You could also punt the football away, show confidence in your defense. Or you could line up in some sort of formation and see if you could get Elkhart Central to jump, which has happened already once tonight.
Central with just 2 penalties on the night for 15 yards. St. Joe has 10 penalties for 84 yards.
The offense appears to be on the field here for St. Joe, but Patrick Oliva lines up in punt formation. Kyron Pearson is the deep man standing at his own 40. Good snap. Oliva's kick will roll from the 44. Pearson touches it and recovers it at his own 25, gets tackled at the 27. Excellent special teams coverage. Again, Gavin Stefanik making the hit on special teams. That's the third time tonight. And Pearson's inability to come up with that punt cost his team about 7 yards.
Sometimes you say stay away from it, but he was trying to make a play.
Elkhart Central with 2 timeouts remaining. Brian Mullins, their kicker, is 0 for 2 on field goal attempts tonight. Isaiah Chandler in the shotgun. Gives it to nobody. He keeps it himself and runs for 6. It's 2nd and 4.
You have time to do that. Chandler now with 62 yards rushing tonight.
Central in a hurry-up offense. This time he'll hand it off. Mark Brownlee on the carry. Brownlee has been dynamic tonight. Brownlee is out of bounds at the 39-yard line. Another terrific run for Mark Brownlee, this one for 28. Luke Leonard made the touchdown-saving stop that time.
230 yards rushing tonight now for Brownlee.
2:34 to go in this one.
I think I'm getting a cramp.
Your hand might be with all the stats you've had to keep.
Man, I tell you, what a ball game.
Isaiah Chandler gives it to Mark Brownlee again. Sure, why not? Brownlee trying to get out of bounds, couldn't. He's taken down that time by Teddy McGinn, the strong safety who comes up and gets him after a pickup of 2. It's 2nd and 8. The clock in the lower right-hand corner of the Thor Industries scoreboard on your screen. Chandler fires a bullet out of bounds. He threw it behind Kyron Pearson. Miscommunication that time. That stops the clock, though, for Central with 2:05 to go. It's 3rd and 8.
7 out of 17 in the night. 159 yards for Chandler. He's run for 62. Both quarterbacks have been prolific. Both running backs have done what you'd expect them to do. I got to feel that there's a young man in that Elkhart Central lineup that's on the field. Ricky Roca would love to have a chance to rectify some of the things that have gone on tonight, but we'll see.
Man in motion. It's Chandler himself on a quarterback draw, and he's stacked up at the 35-yard line. Central will be looking at a 4th and 5 right here. A little too long to consider a Mullins field goal attempt. It would be a 51-yarder from there. So 4th and 5 in the ball game on the line for the Blazers. Chandler, did he draw somebody offside? No, he did not. Play clock ticking down. Down to 10. Chandler fires a bullet. It is complete. Pearson with the catch. We've got a flag on the play. There is a flag on the play, so hold everything.
Check the way the flag came out. I don't know if it was...
St. Joe celebrating as though there might be an ineligible receiver downfield. They may have covered up somebody with the slot receiver.
I wonder, Chuck, you know, they gave a warning to the bench earlier about getting off the sidelines. I'd hate to see a call like that this time of the game.
Nope, it's an ineligible receiver downfield. It was called right away. And so that'll set up a 4th and 10 now for Elkhart Central. Take a look at the wide shot here, and we'll see if we can figure it out. Pearson was the receiver downfield, and you couldn't see him. He was at the bottom of the screen, so can't really tell from that angle what happened.
I think both receivers were on the line of scrimmage on this side.
So 4th and 10, and Josh Shattuck will talk it over with his team. With 1:19 to go, and St. Joe trying to protect a 2-point lead. We'll take a break as well. Come back with the dramatic finish of this one next on 46. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week is brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association, partnering with TV 46 for 28 years. With my Hall of Fame partners, Bob Nagel and Bo Hunt, Chuck Freeby with you from Rice Field in Elkhart. The situation, St. Joe leads Elkhart Central 29-27, 1:19 to go in the game. It's 4th and 9 for Elkhart Central at the St. Joe 39. They actually have to get it past the 30. It's closer to 4th and 10.
I think Brownlee has to touch the ball here, Chuck, and I think St. Joe thinks the same thing.
St. Joe loading up the box. Chandler looks to throw. Hit as he throws down the field. Incomplete. Kyron Pearson was defended well by Trevor Jakaki. And there's a late flag on the play from Chuck Henry, the referee. And I think he's telling Josh Shattuck he can't be out on the field.
Well, Josh Shattuck was really upset because I think he thought his guy was face guarded, and I think he was. If we get a chance, obviously we get a chance to look at it again. It's a tough way for a game to end. The team battled so hard, but I tell you what, there's some people going to get tossed here in a minute. Chuck's done a pretty good job tonight. Look at the defender.
He was all over him.
I totally agree. I think that was a missed call. And the reaction from Josh Shattuck and the team, I don't blame him a bit. That was a 4th down, game on the line. Came up with a one-on-one situation. I'll tell you what, for Chandler to get that ball away under that pressure was
as
terrific.
Accurately as he did, too. That ball was on the money for Kyron Pearson. And so, with the unsportsmanlike conduct called against Elkhart Central, the ball marches back into Blazer territory. But the key thing here is St. Joe takes over possession with 1:14 to go, and the Blazers only have 2 timeouts left.
And the last 2 plays, 2 penalties of 25 yards against a team that was only penalized twice leading up to that point. I get it. It's a tough, tough way to finish.
Driscoll back in the football game, and he gets taken down at the 45. Central trying to strip it from him. Could not do so. And Josh Shattuck, let's see if he uses one of his timeouts here. He will. So with 1 minute exactly to go, Central down to 1 timeout left.
Josh Shattuck just so frustrated, hands on hips. He's going out on the field to talk to his team, but going to go over to the officials and just can't believe that his guy, he's showing him he was face guarded. The guy ran right into his face. No call. Again, it's a judgment.
Well, we had a great game last week at Northridge. Can the Raiders give us another one next Friday night when they go into Jim Andrews Field to take on the Northwood Panthers? Northridge came up on the short end tonight against Warsaw in a key Northern Lakes Conference battle. So, you know, Tom Wogeman will have his team's attention this week, and they'd love nothing more than to upset the apple cart down in Napanee, where they're celebrating the Apple Festival this weekend. With the number 2 ranked Northwood Panthers taking on Northridge, you'll see it Friday night at 11, Saturday morning at 9 on TV 46.
You got to be dancing in the streets down in Warsaw. 4-1 start to the season under Bart Curtis.
Well, we'll see the Tigers in week 8 of the season when they take on Northwood at Jim Andrews Field, and that may well be the deciding game in the Northern Lakes Conference this year. We'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, here in the NIC North, 2nd and 8, Driscoll gets the handoff, goes down with the football in hand, and Elkhart Central going to let the clock tick down a little bit here and force St. Joe to try to take another snap. There's about a 13-second difference between the play clock and the game clock.
2 running backs in this game have run for 405 yards.
Terrific efforts by both John Driscoll and Mark Brownlee tonight. And now St. Joe trying to line up in what they would call victory formation. Roskowski bleeding the clock as much as he can. Shattuck will take the timeout as soon as the knee hits. Ooh. And a good anticipation by the Elkhart Central defender. He was trying to move the ball from Roskowski's hand, and timeout taken with 14.6 seconds remaining.
And I certainly don't blame him. I think Ashton Roskowski's got to talk to his center and say, hey,
Well, Elkhart Central just got a personal foul, or should get a personal foul here. Will Faulkner was talking with his hands to his sides to one of the Elkhart Central players who just came across and shoved Faulkner. I'm sure there's some frustration for the defense. Brian Witten wants the clock to run, but I think Josh Shattuck used a timeout here, and Chuck Henry and his officiating team are going to talk things over.
Josh Shattuck getting ready to play cornerback. Now he's going over to his players and telling them, knock it off. You know, part of growing a program is handling tough situations. This is a tough situation for Elkhart Central, but you just can't do those kind of things on the football field. It's, you know, athletics in high school is a teaching opportunity, and these coaches are doing a good job right here.
Chuck Henry talking things over with Brian Witten on the far side as Josh Shattuck getting control over his young men on the Elkhart Central side. It has been a physical football game with a lot of hard hitting, but it has not been a dirty football game.
No. And I think Chuck Henry's done a nice job with his crew of officiating this game. I do think they missed the call on the face guarding, and it might not have changed the outcome of the football game, but it certainly was a tough pill to swallow for a team that really played so hard tonight. Both teams really have. We've been really treated to a great ball game here.
So Chuck Henry, I'm not sure what he's signaling to the press box. He's signaling that there should be 13 or 14 seconds on the clock, I believe.
I believe that's correct.
As Elkhart Central, Shattuck and Elkhart Central used a timeout right away after the third down play. So now it's fourth down, and Brian Witten wants to talk things over with his team to make sure that they're all on the same page here too.
Well, I know one thing. If Josh Shattuck was Joe Madden, he'd have been in the locker room. Holy cow. But I think that's a good job by the officials to understand the frustration. It was a tough call.
Well, we'll give you one more reminder. We want to thank our friends at Marian University for being our four-quarter sponsor and our Facebook Live sponsor tonight. Marian University in Indianapolis is a great Catholic university in a great American city, and we're so pleased to have them sponsoring our broadcast tonight. The scoreboard still says 3rd and 7, but the down marker across the way, I believe accurately, says 4th down. Clock says 13.3 seconds remaining. So if it truly is 4th down, as the down marker indicates, you wonder if St. Joe will try to punt the football away right here.
Well, it's a little bit too much time to take the ball and run backwards. If it was 5 or 6 seconds, you could do that.
Now, Ashton Ruskowski could punt out of this formation, too. We'll see. He's going to run around and try to get the first down, and Ruskowski is still on his feet, and I think he might have gotten the first down. Now the ball pops loose, and Central came up with it with 2 seconds left, and a flag comes in late. Wow, there's all kinds of chaos on this play, folks.
Well, I don't know, somebody on the St. Joe bench.
Well, I think there might have been a face mask when the player was taken out of bounds with the ball, and if so, Central's going to have a chance to make a Hail Mary attempt from St. Joe territory.
Holy cow.
Personal foul, horse collar, called against St. Joe. Big 15-yard penalty here after the turnover, and that's going to give Central a shot at the 45-yard line. Watch it again from Bethel College admissions. Ruskowski is stood up, still going forward. The strip comes there. The ball comes loose with Jake Schreiner coming up with the football. And there's the horse collar by Austin Lee.
Which isn't a bad idea because you're not expecting to be able to make a stop. You got offensive people out there.
So Central gets one crack here with 2 seconds left. Isaiah Chandler rolling out. He's still on his feet. Flag comes in and down he goes. There's a sack. And that should do it, assuming the flag is against Elkhart Central. The sack by Joey Gillis, the defensive end. Chuck Henry picks up the flag, puts it in his pocket, and this football game is over. And the St. Joe Indians have come into Rice Field and knocked off the 5th-ranked team in Class 5A with a 29-27 victory over Elkhart Central. We're back with our post-game show festivities after this on TV 46.
WHME TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week. Brought to you by
An absolute thriller here at Rice Field in Elkhart tonight goes to the St. Joe Indians by a final score of 29-27 as they knock off the 5th-ranked team in Class 5A, the Elkhart Central Blue Blazers. St. Joe now 4-1, Central 3-2. Chuck Freeby and Bob Nagel from high above, and you got everything you could want in a football game and more.
And two teams that played very well, played very hard, a lot of big hits in this game, a lot of key plays. I've run out of ink and one pen before in a game, but never both. And I'll tell you what, the stat sheet today was unbelievable, and we had two great performances. Elkhart Central has a back over 200 yards and a quarterback throws for over 160 yards, and they come up short by a couple of points. St. Joe made some big hits. They made some big plays. Driscoll was outstanding, and of course, an outstanding job by Ashton Ruskowski.
It's the second straight week we've had a 46 game of the week where a team has had a running back go for over 200 yards and lose. One of the reasons for that was the quarterback on the other side, who is our Electrical Workers our IU South Bend fulfilling the promise player of the game. He's standing by now with Bo Hunt.
Standing by with our player of the game, Ashton Ruskowski. Ashton, just a fantastic battle out there against a great team in Central. You guys went back and forth. They took, coming in the second half, they had the lead. You guys came right out in the second half. What did Coach talk about at halftime?
At halftime, just finishing, coming out like we did last week. We didn't win the game, but we came out and had a very strong second half. So we just wanted to come out and get back and get that energy going right away, get a defensive stop, and get the offense rolling, and I think we did a pretty good job at that. We got the momentum going pretty well, and defense came up big like they always do.
Between you and Driscoll, you guys combined for 450 yards. Just talk about that combo and your two leadership out there.
Really what it comes down to is the offensive line. I mean, they give us plenty of time, me passing-wise, and open up those running lanes for me and John. And John's a very explosive guy, so once you get him in open field or he finds a hole, and there's a lot of them with the O-line, so they make those holes happen, and we just try to hit them and get as many yards as possible.
Talking about your teammates, talk about Kelly's hit.
Oh, that was big time. That's probably one of the biggest hits I've seen in 4 years. I don't even know if I've seen some big ones like that in college, so that was a big deal.
You guys get right in the grind right now of the NIC North. Just talk about you guys moving forward in the season the rest of the way.
We play a very strong schedule with Penn and Mishawaka coming up, and some of those teams. We have Adams at the end of the season. All these games are hard. Every team is good, and that's how we like our schedule. We want to be able to battle each and every week to prepare us for the playoffs, but focusing on going 1-0 is our main goal.
Always a pleasure talking to you.
Yes, sir, and happy birthday to my sister, too. It's her birthday today, so.
Back to you guys.
All right, thank you very much, Bo. And now, I was trying to give the electrical workers their props. They have our electrifying play of the game. You called it as one of the best runs you've ever seen in a high school football game. Mark Brownlee getting Central back in the game late.
You just got to, number one, he's talented. He's very quick, but his want-to. Now, see him slow down here a little bit. He gets a straight arm. Now he slows down, sets the both guys up at about the 6-yard line. And how do you get in the end zone? You got to want to. What a great run.
So Mark Brownlee getting Central within 2, but that's as close as they could get in the fourth quarter as St. Joe survives this one 29-27. So the Indians, what's their reward? Well, they have to go on the road to Penn next week. And meanwhile, Elkhart Central has Mishawaka next week. So a couple of tough contests for these teams. That's the way it's going to be in the NIC North. Our thanks to our TV 46 crew who brought you this one tonight, led by our production manager, Dean Korsmo, and down in the truck tonight, running the controls, the bubbly one, Tony Beltran, was our producer, director, and our TD. A reminder, college football on the LaCie radio stations tomorrow, IU and Ball State at noon, Purdue and Missouri at 7:30. And then next Friday night on TV 46, It's more high school football as the second-ranked Northwood Panthers, undefeated on the year, take on the Northridge Raiders in a huge Elkhart County rivalry. You'll see it live on Facebook at 7, Friday night on TV 46 at 11, and again Saturday morning at 9. Now for my broadcast partners. They're Hall of Famers, you know, Bob Nagel, Bo Hunt. This is Chuck Freeby. Once again, the final score, St. Joe 29, Elkhart Central 27. We bid you so long from the city with a heart.